this week all around the eastern half of the U.S., including right here in metro Atlanta. More than 100 million people from the Midwest to New England are under some form of heat warning or advisory. We'll be getting well into the 90s this week in town, where one nonprofit is doing what it can to cool things down.
A nonprofit called Frontline Response has opened a cooling center on Gresham Road just south of I-20. Anyone is welcome to walk in at any time. Those looking to escape the heat will also get lunch, dinner, and something to drink. Staff members plan to work with those experiencing homelessness to find long-term shelter. To make it easy to get to the shelter, staff members will pick up people every morning at 8:30 from the Decatur Library and at 9 from the Chamblee Library. The center will be open through next Sunday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Lisa Nicholas, 95.5 WSB.
Watching the investigation this morning by Cobb County Police following the overnight shooting at an apartment complex near the Kennesaw State campus. One person was hurt. It is not clear, though, if that person was shot or hurt in some other way. The shooting happened at the Bixby Apartments on Busby Parkway. That's across from Fifth Third Stadium. Complex is considered off-campus housing for KSU students. A new survey asked the simple question: how much money do you need to feel financially secure and comfortable?
Nearly half of Americans say they have to have a six-figure annual income. In fact, more than a quarter of the people polled in Bankrate's Financial Freedom Survey said they need to make $150,000 or more. The Census Bureau, though, estimates that the average full-time worker earns about $81,500 a year.
Bloomberg's Dan Schwartzman says overall, more than half of those surveyed admit they need more than what they currently earn to live comfortably. WSB Scam Alert. This one involves bogus travel companies as you plan your next getaway. Tech contributor Ian Scher says do your research when searching for help.
Looking to see whether or not other people have had good experiences with them, whether or not anyone has reported them as scammers or potentially bad businesses.
He urges us to avoid companies that send you an email or text just out of the blue offering deals. And if a deal does look too good to be true, as Clark Howard likes to say, it probably is. And Tesla's self-driving rideshare vehicles make their debut on the roads.
Tesla finally launched a small fleet of its robo-taxis in Austin, Texas Sunday. In a post on X, Tesla CEO Elon Musk called the rollout a culmination of a decade of hard work.
Jesse Mitchell reports the service was only available to select guests to start. Musk has told investors, though, that Tesla owners will be able to upgrade their cars so they can function as self-driving taxis as well. It is 9:03, the Mark Arum Show with Mark Arum. He's back. Begins in less than 2 minutes. But first, live team coverage of traffic and weather. And first, triple team traffic. And here is Smiler Mark McKay.
Not making good time into northwest Atlanta as we see a breakdown. Now they're going to hold all lanes, they being a Georgia State Patrol and a Hero Unit operator holding the most of I-75 southbound now at Morris Mill Road. They're only letting the HOV lane get by, trying to get this breakdown to the right shoulder past Morris Mill Road. Delays back toward West Paces Ferry. That really is the worst of it coming out of the northern suburbs as we're easing off the delays through Alpharetta. Still a bit slow around Haynesbridge Road on 400, and 85 is crowded, leaving Duluth and Norcross, especially at Pleasant Hill Road. Keeping watch on 285, Ashley Frasca.
Some brake lights on 285 South, headed past Highway 78. Earlier crash below Memorial Drive. That's been cleared to the shoulder, and tapping the brakes through Cobb County, 285 North and East, trying to get past New North Side Powers Ferry. Triple team traffic, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly cloudy, hot today, high 94, lows tonight in the mid-70s. Even hotter for tomorrow with partly cloudy skies, high 98. Wednesday, partly cloudy with an isolated pop-up storm, high 97.
81 degrees right now in Stockbridge, 82 in Beaufort, 77 degrees in Midtown Atlanta at 9:05. More news at 9:30, breaking news when it happens. I'm Jed Hickenbotham, 95.5 WSB.
Yes, indeed, Judd. I am back. Jet-lagged AF, but I am back and at the helm from my Japanese vacation. Hopefully, a little bit later on the show, I'll be able to recap a little bit of what I experienced over the last 10 days when I was overseas. But there's just too much news to talk about to bore you with my vacation slideshow. I will just say, though, I posted a bunch of pictures on my Instagram account and Facebook if you want to check out what I did while I was gone. Arigato gozaimasu to Shelly Winter, filling in for me last week. Really appreciate that, Shelly. Obviously, the big story is the Iran strike. And you had to know, Deborah, that when I was going out of town, we would have a massive news story for me to discuss on my return. And I think we have it with this Iran strike deal. Deborah says, yes, Mark, we knew there would be breaking news while you were gone, for sure. In case you missed it, President Trump addressing the world.
Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated.
Yeah, a really amazing attack from our stealth bombers there, hitting the 3 locations where we believe that Iran was developing nuclear weapons. Now, let me just say first, I am going to learn from the mistakes of my predecessors, right? People that were on at this very time on this very radio station post 9/11 as the Iraqi war started. I learned from their mistakes. So I am approaching this whole situation with kids' gloves. I am not going to come out equivocally and say 100% yes, this was the right thing to do, or 100% no, this was the right. Listen, I've learned. A lot of people made some big mistakes. You go back and listen to the tapes from some talk show hosts right after we launched the Iraqi war, and it's cringeworthy what you heard come out from a lot of talk show hosts. So I am not going to make that mistake. My initial reaction, though, is this was a good thing. And I don't say that from, obviously I am very interested in what goes on in the region and the security of Israel and the security of the United States. But just listening to the director of the international group that monitors nuclear activity. So Iran had ramped up production of this enriched uranium to 60%, which is far higher enrichment than you need if you want, like, hey, let's build a nuclear reactor and make some energy. You don't enrich uranium to 60%. This is all from, I'm not an expert in this. This is from the guy that leads the committee, the worldwide committee that monitors nuclear reactors, etc. Iran had enriched uranium up to 60%. Now, if Plant Vogtle, you don't have to enrich it to 60%. 60% enriched uranium only points to one thing, that they want to build nuclear bombs. You need to get that yellow cake to 90%. That's the number. How long does it take to get from 60 to 90%? Not that long. So right now, again, just what we know right now, I think this was a good thing. You don't enrich uranium to 60% unless you have nefarious desires, which I think we can all agree Iran wants a nuclear weapon for sure. We're getting new information after that huge strike at those 3 places in Iran. It looks like the damage was done. One of the questions remains is, was Iran able to get some of that uranium out, knowing that maybe the U.S. might strike these 3 areas? That's what we don't know. We'll have to rely on our intelligence agencies, both ours and Israel's, to find out if there was complete damage done to the uranium stockpile in Iran. But again, as this is still a fresh developing story, I'm not going to 100% say either way, good or bad. We don't know. I'm not going to make the mistake that folks did after the Iraq war started in the WMDs, and just not going to do it. I don't want 10 years from now, heck, even 5 years from now, to be able to pull up audio and be like, oh my God, what was Aram thinking? Talking about it. What an idiot. I don't want to be that guy. Because there are a lot of men and women that were in talk radio after the start of the Iraqi war that if you played the audio for them, they would bury their head in the sand and be like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that stuff. I'm not going to be that guy. The big question is what happens next. And there are a number of possible scenarios what happens next. We are awaiting for Iran's response, obviously. What is Iran going to do? One possibility is they do nothing to retaliate and they say, oh, you know what? We're in the deep end of the pool. We don't have a life jacket. Let's get back to the negotiating table. Fine, we're not going to go. Let's just end this. Stop. But that is there's a very small chance that happens, but it could possibly happen that Iran wakes up and says, oof, we didn't expect stealth bombers bombing out with these bunker busters. We didn't expect the success that Israeli airstrikes have had. So, all right, fine. We'll come to the table. We'll negotiate, and then let's just stop this now. Very slim chance that happens, but I guess it is a possibility. Second possibility is that Iran does retaliate, and they've sworn retaliation against Israel. Nothing yet against the United States, but it's a small measured response. Iran or some of their proxies, whether it's the Houthis or Hezbollah or Hamas, does something to one of the U.S. installations in the region or one of the embassies in the region. Right? Nothing huge, but like, all right, you're going to drop bombs on us. We're going to retaliate. We're going to take out the embassy in Kuwait or the embassy in Qatar or the embassy in Lebanon. A small measured response. That's a strong possibility that we do see that. Obviously, Iran is not letting up on Israel. There's been attacks in Tel Aviv today. But as far as your response to the United States, could we see a small measured response? The third possibility is a massive response against the United States. Oh, you've got an air carrier in the region. Oh, we're going to try to take that out. Oh, we're going to up our terrorism games. We have sleeper cells in the United States. Oh, we're going to activate them. Or you know what? Our BFF is Vladimir Putin. You want to bomb out our nuclear weapons? Fine. He's just going to give them to us. Because remember, we've got very distinctive sides on this. We've got the United States and Israel and a majority of our allies. I think a majority of the Arab nations don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon, including the Saudis. And on the other side, you've got Iran, you've got Russia, you've got North Korea, and maybe China. China is really worried that Iran, in retaliation, one of their moves is going to shut down the Strait of Hormuz, which would obliterate 20 to 30% of the world's oil supply. China does not want that to happen. Russia kind of does. They wouldn't mind if the strait got shut down. So right now, three basic scenarios, I think, of what happens next, right? That is the question. What happens next? Iran tucks tail and comes to the negotiating table and said, all right, mea culpa, we'll negotiate. 2, a limited response, continuing attacks on Israel, and maybe some proportional attacks on U.S. interest in the area. Or 3, they shut down the strait and we're on a full-on trajectory to war. Don't know which way we're going to go yet. But I, in my mind, those are the 3 scenarios, A, B, and C. Would love it for it to be A, would hate for it to be C. So maybe B is the most logical solution. We did hear from the Defense Secretary and other administration officials this weekend. Joining us from the Pentagon, ABC News reporter Chris Baccia. Chris, good morning. Thanks for your time. What did we hear from the Defense Secretary?
Well, we heard the Defense Secretary praise President Trump's decision to take the unprecedented action to attack Iranian nuclear sites with American military capability that's unmatched in the world. Only the U.S. military could execute such a plan. Only the U.S. military has the ordnance necessary to do what they've done, attacking specifically Fordow, the Iranian nuclear site that's buried some 300 feet into the ground underneath a mountain to boot. So they've done that with B-2 bombers that traveled all the way from Missouri east to Iran. They sent B-2 bombers west as well as a decoy. Those ones had their transponders on, which did divert the attention of some folks like us in the media. And then they did this in the darkness of night in Iran, as we all know. So the Pentagon gave some of the operational details. They mentioned 14 of those bombs were dropped on 2 of the nuclear sites. There were Tomahawk missiles that were launched from submarines as well at Isfahan. Significant damage is the readout across the federal government, but some varying language from the officials. Pete Hegseth used the word obliterated to describe the nuclear ambitions of Iran, and he described severe damage, quote, severe damage to their nuclear capabilities. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs a little bit more measured, but he did say that they sustained significant damage, but that a battle damage assessment hasn't been done yet. We have to see. And President Trump, of course, in the moments after, saying it was a monumental success, saying that they did obliterate those sites. The independent watchers of this are yet to come out and say such a strong thing as that. I think it's fair to say that lots of analysis needs to be done before such an assessment can be made.
Pretty interesting that they sent those bombers west as a decoy. That's next level stuff there. I guess it would go without saying, Chris, that the lead up to this bombing campaign by the U.S. and Iran was predicated by the Israeli army really taking down any air support or anti-aircraft issues that Iran might have had, kind of cleared the path for these bombers to come in from the United States.
That's right. It was an important predicate, and that airspace was virtually clear. And the chairman of the Joint Chiefs yesterday at the Pentagon said that there was very little coordination with the Israelis for this particular offensive action by the U.S. But he did say that they made sure that the airspace was clear, that the Israelis had cleared the airspace, and so they were able to execute the mission without the Iranians seemingly even identifying them. Now, they're stealth bombers, that is the point, but he made the point yesterday that the Iranians didn't even fire at them, and they didn't even see us in the air. We were gone by the time they knew what happened.
Chris Baccia from ABC News joining us here on the Mark Arum Show. I guess the big question this morning, just not for us here in the U.S., but around the world, is what happens next? Did we get any indication from the Defense Secretary or the Joint Chiefs of Staff on what the United States is prepared to do militarily moving forward, or are we in a defensive mode with all of our troops in the region?
Well, Secretary Hegseth, said this was not an open-ended mission. This was a one-off, and that was a message on the Sunday shows from all the officials, Vice President Vance, Secretary Rubio, too. And the idea is that, of course, the United States is in a position to respond if Iran takes action against the U.S. military bases in the region. There's some 40,000 American troops in the region, and all eyes are on those bases for whether the Iranians will choose to retaliate. And Hegseth says the full force of the American military is ready for such a scenario, but this is a time to come to the table and talk. We don't have much clarity on what those conversations might be. We know the Iranians and the Americans were talking. They did 5 rounds of nuclear talks before this. How this changes potential talks, impossible to know. Whether or not talks can even resume at this point, hard to know. The Iranians say the time for diplomacy is not now after the Americans have attacked us. So it's very early to see what happens next. The ball is in the Supreme Leader's Court in Tehran, who's in hiding, who did actually make his first statement this morning since the attack, but didn't mention the U.S. by name at all, only to say that their retaliation against Israel is ongoing. So it's very early to say. But Pete Hegseth says the attacks actually invite peace. They open a window for us to talk about peace. But what he really means is that Iran needs to take more seriously American demands about its nuclear program after what's happened.
Chris, as always, great insight. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, Mark.
Chris Baccia, ABC News at the Pentagon this morning. Still to come, we're going to talk to Colonel Jeff McCausland, military analyst. We will go live to Jerusalem as the battles continue right now between Israel and Iran. When we come back, we'll get an update from Tehran. CNN's Frederick Pleiken was there when the attacks from Israel started to hit the Iranian capital. We'll update that next. But first, I did not miss Atlanta traffic, I can tell you that. Let's get the latest on this Monday morning live in Atlanta's only 24-hour traffic center. Here's Ashley Frasca.
But we missed you, Mark. Welcome back. Still a little crowded on the East Freeway, I-20 westbound rolling past Wesley Chapel Road, and they've reportedly set up the road work outbound on I-20 East past Wesley Chapel. Careful for crews in the right lane there. Things improving in northwest Atlanta. Trouble down at 75 south at Moores Mill has cleared. Crash investigation in Johns Creek at McGinnis Ferry at Technology Circle. Traffic brought to you by Peach Pass. The Peach Pass Go mobile app helps you get there faster with new and improved features and more coming soon. Download the new Peach Pass Go mobile app today at peachpass.com. I'm Ashley Frasca, 95.5 WSB.
U.S. Air Force B-2s bomb Iran.
They're the only planes capable of carrying so-called bunker buster bombs.
President Trump lays out the details.
There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days.
The U.S. attack on Iran.
The U.S. carried out attacks on 3 nuclear sites.
What it means for the region, for the U.S., and for you.
He adds, now is the time for peace.
Listen often throughout the day for the very latest. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's breaking news station.
Motorcycle riders know that a distracted driver can knock you down. It's nice to know that Steel Horse Law can pick you back up. Hey, it's Eric Von Hessler for Steel Horse Law, the Stein and Karen Law Group. In the worst possible scenario, when someone causes you to lay your bike down, Steel Horse Law will get you the best possible settlement. Their name strikes fear in the heart of big insurance companies because Steel Horse Law is respected and will make them pay. Visit steelhorselaw.com.
We are here with CFP Matthew Decker of the Vincent Financial Group and host of Retire ATL. And Matt, you've said that income is the outcome that matters the most in retirement. But what income streams require the most attention?
Yeah, so if you've got a pension or if you're living off of Social Security, you kind of know those income streams show up in your mailbox. That's mailbox money. It's almost like you're still working, and it doesn't really require that much attention. But most people that come into the office today, they are having to use their 401ks, their IRAs, SEP Simples, 403Bs that are invested in the market to generate income. And anytime you're going to use a market-linked asset where you have to go in and decide when you're going to buy and sell to generate your income, it takes a ton more effort, energy, and attention to get that piece of the puzzle right. But it doesn't actually have to be that way.
So, Matt, the number one fear of adults in retirement is outliving their money. How do we get started building income today?
Well, you can get started today. You'd call us for a no-cost, no-obligation retirement roadmap. We want to build a GPS for you that's going to help navigate retirement, and it's going to have a focus on building and preserving income. 770-280-1488. We've got a representative standing by to talk to you right now, 770-280-1488. Our home office is in downtown Woodstock, but we are available across the metro Atlanta area to meet with you at a time and place that fits your schedule. Again, 770-280-1488 or online at retireatlradio.com.
The team at Vincent Financial Group want to help preserve your assets while building retirement income that lasts as long as you do. Call today for your complimentary retirement roadmap, 770-280-1488. And you can always get more at retireatlradio.com and join us for Retire ATL Sundays at 6 p.m. right here on WSB.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
Only inches separate you from the heavy rain trying to infiltrate your home. If your old roof is leaking, think of Findlay First for a remarkable roof replacement. Schedule a free roof analysis. FindlayRoofing.com.
Roof, roof. Oh, popsicle drips, muddy shoes, and summertime messes, don't let them take over your home. Call Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. Zerorez uses their ZR water technology, no dirt-attracting soaps, no harsh chemicals, just a truly clean, healthy home. Right now, take advantage of their summer sale. Get 15% off all services, that is carpets, air ducts, rugs, tile, and more, all 15% off. Just mention Chris Chandler or book now at ZeroRezAtlanta.com, and yeah, they do commercial cleaning too. Zerorez, all they leave is clean.
Belinda Skelton here with Atlanta Vision Institute's very own Dr. Ashraf, who is one of the most experienced eye surgeons in the country. Dr. Ashraf, we've all watched the news and the economy is uncertain, but failing eyesight isn't. And if you've held back due to finances, we've got good news for you, don't we?
Yes, Belinda, as you know, our eyesights degrade as we age. And with the laser optics procedure, that resets all of that. And most of my patients go most of the day without glasses. They can even read their phone without glasses. And in terms of the economy, most of these patients, their medical insurance can cover most of the costs. And if it doesn't, we have a lot of good financing options for this procedure.
That's awesome, Dr. Ashraf. I urge you to take the quiz to see if you're a candidate. Go to 2020atlanta.com. That's 2020atlanta.com.
This mission demonstrates the unmatched reach, coordination, and capability of the United States military. In just a matter of weeks, this went from strategic planning to global execution.
Weeks of planning. Unbelievable. The attack in Iran. Welcome back to the Mark Arum Show. That was the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Kane. We're going to continue our coverage of that Iran strike throughout the day. In the meantime, things have escalated between Israel and Iran. Pulled this off CNN this morning. Frederick Plykin in Tehran, Iran.
So we've just witnessed a massive airstrike here on the area of sort of northern central Tehran. We actually went downstairs into a shelter once we heard planes overhead, and then we heard explosions. You can see now the sky over the northwest of Tehran is completely filled with smokes. It seemed to us as though it were several really, really strong impacts that took place. And if we look over to the left here, you can see the smoke seems to be emanating from that area. That's more towards the west of Iran, the sort of northwest of Tehran, of the Iranian capital. This is the first time since we've been here that we've seen a heavy airstrike like this in the fairly central part of the city. So we're only going to be able to be up here for not much longer, but this is definitely something that I wouldn't say is unprecedented, but it's definitely something that we haven't seen in the past couple of days. Coming, of course, exactly after the Trump administration struck those nuclear facilities, and the Iranians are vowing revenge for that. Of course, the Israelis also continuing their air campaign. And right now, as you can see, the skies over Tehran filled with thick black smoke.
Frederick Plykin in Tehran this morning. So while the U.S. strike might have been one and done, things continue to go back and forth between Israel and Hamas. Coming up later in the show, we're going to go live to Jerusalem. CBS News correspondent Robert Berger going to give us things from the Israeli perspective there. When we come back, though, the president, busy travel schedules, heading to the NATO summit in the Netherlands. We're going to go live to The Hague, get the very latest on this still developing story, reaction to the U.S. strike against Iran's nuclear capabilities and facilities. Colonel Jeff McCausland, CBS military analyst, going to join us as well. Obviously, a massive story. Our coverage will continue after news, weather, and traffic. Social media is active throughout the broadcast at Mark Arum and at WSB Radio.
Got a leaky pipe? Trouble with your AC? Ace Hardware Home Services now has the trusted pros to fix it. From plumbing to cooling, we'll keep your home running smoothly all year long. Visit acehardwarehomeservices.com or call 770-233-7787.
Atlanta DIY landlords, listen up. If you're exhausted from managing your rental properties all by yourself, my friends at Renters Warehouse Atlanta offering a 90-day test drive. Hire Renters Warehouse to manage your rental property for a low flat monthly fee as low as $115. If you're not satisfied at any time in the first 3 months, you can fire them. Get your management fees back. What do you get for that low flat monthly fee? A dedicated property management team, maintenance coordination, move in and move out property condition reports, advanced tenant screening with a 9-month tenant warranty, professional photography and videography, lease renewal processing and negotiations, online rent collection, monthly owner cash flow statements, and more. Renters Warehouse, so confident you'll love their service, they want an addition for your business. Choice is yours. Keep DIYing or see how Renters Warehouse can make your life easier. Start your 90-day test drive today. Go to rwatlanta.com or call 404-662-2322, 404-662-2322.
What is All Care? All Care is expert urgent care and primary care under a single roof, offering convenience and continuity for your healthcare needs. All Care is a team of physicians and clinicians who know you and your medical history, so they can provide the personalized care you deserve. And with both family and immediate care services offered 7 days a week, All Care means seeing your doctor on your schedule. 15 convenient locations, same-day appointments, and walk-ins welcome. Remember, urgent care plus primary care equals All Care. Learn more at allcare-ga.com.
Ever wish selling your house came with a bonus round? With Orchard, you get cash up front to buy your next place, then more when your old one sells. Check it out with a free valuation at orchard.com. That's orchard.com.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It's 9:30. I'm Jed Hickenbotham. News this half hour brought to you by Beaver Toyota of Cumming. Our top story, watching the latest airstrikes this morning between Israel and Iran, including Israeli forces once again targeting an Iranian nuclear facility. Correspondent Deborah Pata says the latest fighting plus the weekend U.S. strikes on 3 Iranian nuclear targets has stoked fears of a larger war.
We saw in Iran huge protests with some Iranians demanding harsh retaliation against both Israel and the U.S. for the weekend strikes. Gulf nations, the European Union, and the United Nations have all condemned the attack and are calling for immediate diplomacy.
There are also worries in the U.S. about some form of Iranian retaliation on infrastructure here. Governor Kemp saying this morning state agencies are working with the federal government on any possible threats. Check back often for updates on the conflict between Israel and Iran. We'll have coverage throughout the day and breaking news as it happens. It is 78 degrees right now in Midtown Atlanta. WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards says we will be cranking up the temperature this week. Look for plenty of sunshine today. The high getting into the low to mid 90s. Could be flirting, though, with a record high tomorrow, closer to 100 degrees. Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast is coming up. Awaiting more information as Atlanta firefighters evacuate a few businesses in Midtown this morning after reports of a carbon monoxide leak. Crews say they responded to the call in the 900 block of Monroe Drive, that's right near 8th Street. 2 patients reported headaches at the scene. Firefighters say they were working to ensure everyone's safety. Not yet clear, though, exactly which businesses were evacuated, but there are restaurants and dry cleaners in the area. Well, it could be a busy time for the U.S. Supreme Court, which still must address a dozen big cases before it breaks for summer recess.
Nearly 40 million privately insured people use the free preventative health services in the Affordable Care Act, from cancer screenings to cholesterol tests. They could all lose it if the Supreme Court finds in favor of Texas plaintiffs who say providing HIV prevention drugs goes against their religion. Birthright citizenship is on deck as justices will decide whether lower courts can block the Trump administration's effort to yank citizenship from people born to undocumented migrants. There is also a public school curriculum decision pending where parents want to ensure their kids can't see books with LGBT characters in the med school. Veronica Waters, 95.5 WSB.
It's not exactly blaming tariffs, but a Japanese automaker says it is raising its prices.
Toyota will raise the prices of some vehicles it sells in the U.S. by more than $200 starting next month. According to spokesman Nobu Tsunaga, some Toyota and Lexus models will see their prices raised by an average of $270 and $208 respectively. Tsunaga says the move is a part of a regular revision, and new prices are determined based on factors including market conditions and competition. Japanese car makers rely heavily on imports to supply the American market. I'm Bloomberg's Dan Schwartzman for 95.5 WSB.
It's 9:33 as we check your money. Bell ringing for a Monday here on Wall Street. All major indices are down slightly. NASDAQ is down the most, about 0.3%. Now live team coverage of traffic and weather. We start in the WSB 24-hour traffic center. And Ashley Frasca.
Hey, good morning, Judd. We've got road work set up in the right lane, or soon, too, on I-20 eastbound rolling past Wesley Chapel Road. Careful of crews there. The ride through downtown improving, but still sluggish on the connector north trying to get up to I-20. Look out for a gas leak. It shut down Dallas-Ackworth Highway at Stonewood Creek Drive in Paulding County, and a crash investigation ongoing in Johns Creek. McGinnis Ferry eastbound blocked at Technology Circle. I'm Ashley Frasca, 95.5 WSB.
This is WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly cloudy and hot today, high 94, lows tonight in the mid-70s. Tomorrow, potentially the hottest day so far this year with a high of 98 and a partly cloudy sky. An isolated pop-up shower can't be ruled out on Wednesday, high 97.
It is 82 degrees right now in Marietta, 81 in Stonecrest, 79 degrees in Midtown Atlanta at 9:34. More news at 10, breaking news when it happens. I'm Jed Hickenbotham, 95.5 WSB.
If it's happening on the streets of Atlanta.
After suspect refuses to exit home on Summer Chase Drive.
If it's happening on the roads leading to Atlanta.
Looks to be a tanker truck crashed into the median on the Jam Cam.
95.5 WSB has you covered.
The major culprits are squeezing household budgets for auto insurance, gasoline, and utilities.
Your 24/7 news source. Tune in throughout the day to stay up to date.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's breaking news station.
We now risk descending into a rat hole of retaliation
after retaliation.
That's UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres after the massive Iranian strike by the United States. More world reaction as the NATO summit kicks off. We go live to the Netherlands next on the Mark Arum Show.
This is Scott Slade for the great people at Ragsdale Heating and Air, where many of their employees have been with the company for 10, 20, even 30 years. And I've used them for a lot of those years. You know, with school getting out, you've got to have good air conditioning. And if you're ready for a new AC system during the month of June, Ragsdale is taking up to $1,700 off a new Carrier home comfort system. And you'll get Ragsdale's trusted 15-year parts and labor warranty. Ragsdale's a name I know you can trust for all your plumbing, electrical, and insulation needs, too. Go to ragsdaleair.com or call them. Ragsdale, the name I know you can trust.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
Let's take the diplomatic off-ramp. Let's get serious and calm this thing down.
That's David Lamay, UK Foreign Minister. World reaction to the massive strike in Iran by the United States. We continue our team coverage now. Joining us live from the Netherlands, White House correspondent John Decker there for the NATO summit. John, good morning. Thanks for your time.
Hey, Mark. Thanks for having me on today. That's right. The president arrives here in the Netherlands. That's tomorrow. He leaves early in the morning tomorrow for this two-day summit. And the top item now on the agenda here at the summit is Iran. It probably wasn't on the agenda at all 3 weeks ago, but now it's the top item. You know, every one of our NATO allies has praised the president for taking the action that he did. At the same time, they're urging diplomacy and de-escalation. Everyone in statements that have been put out has indicated that's what they would like to see concerning the U.S. Military action on Iran.
Yeah, you've been, obviously as a White House correspondent, you've been following this, the Trump presidency, and the president kind of gave us a pump fake that 2 weeks, let's see what's going to happen in 2 weeks statement. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we have this B-2 stealth bomber attack in Iran. Did you have any indication that was on the table or that was coming so soon?
No, I mean, it was a deception maneuver on the part of the president. I think one of two things taking place there. One, maybe that was the point, in terms of catching Iran off guard. They clearly were caught off guard. The other possibility, of course, is that some additional intelligence was acquired by the U.S. that gave a narrow window for the U.S. to take the military action that we saw coming over the weekend. But regardless, I think that every one of the NATO allies that's already here in the Netherlands, they want to meet with President Trump to get a sense about what America's short and long-term goals are as it relates to dealing with Iran going forward.
John, Iran's principal ally outside of the region is Russia, and obviously all of this in the backdrop of the escalation in the Russia-Ukraine war. I'm sure that would have been the number one topic at the NATO summit that kicks off tomorrow. Where does Russia fit into this, and what do you think our NATO allies are going to think about how Russia may or may not help Iran?
Well, the reason why NATO was founded in the first place it was to push back on what was then the Soviet Union. And Russia is viewed by every one of our NATO allies as an adversary, as a country that has territorial ambitions that go even beyond Ukraine. So the war in Ukraine will certainly be discussed. Increasing defense spending also on the agenda. That's something that each of the NATO allies agreed to yesterday, to increase defense spending as a percentage of their GDP. The president will push each and every one of those countries who's not paying their fair share to do so within a certain time period. Canada and Spain certainly fall into that category.
How important is this NATO summit in comparison to like the G7, which recently occurred?
I think this is more consequential. I do, and then the reason has to do with the focus. The focus is security, and you want to show a unified front at this because our enemies, our adversaries are watching very closely, whether you're talking about China or whether you're talking about Russia. And so this is something that the president will be at for the first time since his first term in office. Last year, of course, when the NATO summit took place, it was Joe Biden who was president. And now with President Trump, he's got a different outlook in terms of the importance of NATO and what the other NATO countries must do to pay their fair share.
White House correspondent John Decker live in the Netherlands. John, always appreciate your time. Have a safe voyage, my friend.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
There you go. John, Deborah, you got another pin for the Mark Arum Show guest map. I think that's the first guest we've had live on from the Netherlands.
I think it is the first time we've been to the Netherlands, yes.
We're waiting for that map to come in. It's back ordered because of the tariffs, Longoria, so we got to wait for so John Decker, I mean, ironically that the NATO summit was coming on and John caught off guard by the Iranian strike there. He has been the White House correspondent. President Trump, gave that, we'll revisit the issue in 2 weeks. And then, boom, it was not 2 weeks. So John, thinking maybe we got some intelligence that Iran was maybe about to move some of that nuclear uranium, the enriched uranium. So maybe that's why we acted. So I thought it was amazing going back to the Chris Boccia interview last half hour. In case you missed it, Chris Boccia from ABC joined us at the Pentagon. And this is next level stuff. So a B-52 bomb, right? What a B-2, B-50? I forget. No, we're giving away tickets to the B-52s. I'm getting confused. The stealth bomber. What a B-2 is it? I don't know. B-2. We sent 2 of them west as a decoy. They launched 2 of them west as a decoy with the transponders on, and then sent 2 of them east with the transponders off to head to Iran. That's next level stuff. That's like Mossad level stuff. Speaking of that, those B-2 bombers have returned to the United States after their successful mission. Pretty crazy stuff. Let's see. Ian Lee is a CBS correspondent at Whiteman Air Force Base in Johnson County, Missouri. Several B-2 bombers that carried out Saturday night's bombing of several Iranian nuclear facilities returned to the Air Force Base in Johnson, Missouri, Sunday afternoon. CBS's Ian Lee outside the base described seeing the bombers flying overhead.
I saw this dark shape soaring high above. I instantly recognized that it was a B-2 stealth bomber. It looked like it was buzzing the base, flying above it and circling around. I saw a second one. And then moments later, I started to see these stealth bombers coming in for a landing.
Crazy stuff. Have you ever seen? I've never seen one. Oh, no, I take that back. I did see one like at a flyover at a Braves game, I think it was. But if you look at them, I don't want to get down a conspiracy theory hole, Deborah, but you look at that stealth bomber. It looks nothing like anything else, any other aircraft, right? It's just almost.
I've only ever seen photos.
Yeah, so I think I've definitely seen them at a flyover event a flyover at a sporting event. But not to get down a conspiracy theory, but there are thoughts on the fringes of the internet that we were able to develop the stealth bomber because of alien technology that we got from a crash. You know what I'm saying? Like
I love that.
A UFO crashed and we took it to Roswell, New Mexico. And then whatever we learned from that, we used to develop the stealth bomber. Anyway, very interesting. All right, Elena Treen at the White House this morning from CNN with reaction to the U.S. massive strike, 3 separate strikes in Iran.
We know that the president is going to be gathering his national security team in the Oval Office at 1 p.m. And really, that is the question that they are now facing is how do we move forward with this and what exactly happens? Of course, they're watching closely, we're told, for any potential retaliation from Iran, but really they're faced with two key questions. One of them is what you brought up, Sarah, which is how effective were these strikes? I remember throughout this week when we were reporting on the president moving closer to that decision to go ahead and strike Iranian nuclear facilities, he had been asking his team behind closed doors, can we actually take out these facilities with these, B-2 bunker buster bombs? They assured him yes, but of course that is still the question. We have seen the president reiterate repeatedly now that it was a very successful operation, that these sites were obliterated, but we're still trying to assess what actually the damage is. And then the next question is, how will Iran respond to all of this? And also, how do they want to move forward with this? Because we have heard the president now say that he wants diplomacy to really, have the Iranians face this now and respond and move toward peace. But he's also cautioned that they are prepared to launch more strikes on more nuclear targets in Iran if they do not move forward like that. And I think one key thing here is that post you brought up from the president, because we have been hearing, not just privately, but we've seen now many top Trump administration officials come out publicly on television saying that this is not about regime change. You first heard that from the White House press secretary Caroline Leavitt on Thursday. She had said that this was all about the nuclear weapon. And then you saw the three people that the president had flank him when he made that address to the nation after these strikes on Saturday evening. Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State, but also National Security Advisor Marco Rubio, and the head of the Pentagon, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, all of them going out yesterday on the Sunday show saying this is not about regime change. This is not a war on Iran. It's a war on their nuclear program. That's how Vance characterized this. But then just hours later, that line held only for a couple hours, and then you saw the president say that if the current Iranian regime is unable to make Iran great again, why wouldn't there be a regime change? So this is all something that they are currently facing. They're going to be meeting today at 1 p.m. Hope we can get more answers for you on all of this.
Elena Trian at the White House this morning. Regime change. That is, the vice president was very adamant saying that we don't want a regime change. The Secretary of Defense was like, we don't want a regime change. And then President Trump on Truth Social was like, hey, we wouldn't mind a regime change. I don't think anyone in the world would mind a regime change. That's one of the things we're going to talk to with Erick Erickson. He's going to join us live at 10:35. Very curious to what Eric has to say about the tactical strike by the U.S. against Iran. Erick Erickson at 10:35. When we come back, we have heard from an IDF spokesperson, Israeli Defense Force spokesperson, about the attack the United States perpetrated against Iran, that strike, that massive bunker-busting strike. We'll hear from him when we come back after a quick break. And a check of the Monday morning ride around town. Live with the latest, here's Ashley Frasca.
Still looking at stop-and-go traffic on 75-85 northbound in spots from University Avenue almost to Freedom Parkway. 85 south and 400 only slow at their merge. A crash investigation is ongoing in Johns Creek. It has shut down McGinnis Ferry eastbound at Technology Circle. You'll have to find another route. Traffic brought to you by Echo Park Speedway. Experience the Quaker State 400 available at Walmart Saturday, June 28th under the lights in Atlanta. Get tickets now at echoparkspeedway.com. I'm Ashley Frasca, 95.5 WSB.
You're by the pool.
You're relaxing.
You're sipping a drink.
Someone brings you a towel.
Adjust the umbrella.
Sound like a fantasy?
It's not if you win $1,000 from WSB.
$1,000 Thursdays begins this Thursday.
Listen for the keyword at 9, 10, and 11 a.m. and 12, 1, 2, and 3 p.m.
Enter the keyword at WSBRadio.com or the WSB app within that hour, and you could win $1,000. Get all the info at WSBRadio.com.
$1,000 Thursdays
from 95.5 WSB.
Where Atlanta wins.
I've had listeners, coworkers, friends come up and ask me, hey, Aram, what makes Advanced Hair Restoration different? Well, allow me to share, along with some details on, get this, their once-a-year summer savings event. First off, Advanced Hair stands by their results, and their before and afters are second to none. With Advanced Hair, your own natural hair guaranteed to grow. Secondly, Advanced Hair combines top-rated physicians with modern technology, creating a concierge-quality experience that's hard to find elsewhere. Finally, Advanced Hair's Advanced FUE begins regrowing your own natural hair the very next day. Quick, simple, and easy. Now, if you have a flexible schedule this summer and you've been waiting for the savings special opportunity, it's here, friends. Advanced Hair Summer Savings Event will get you the most hair for your dollar. It's their best offer ever. For details and to schedule your free consultation, call 770-660-HAIR. One-day treatment, life-changing results. Your new hair guaranteed to grow. 470-660-HAIR or advancedhair.com.
Are the effects of diabetes, prostate cancer, hypertension, or high cholesterol robbing you of your ability to perform in the bedroom? Choice Men's Health can help you eliminate ED and get your bedroom performance back in just one visit. Choice Men's Health offers breakthrough treatments for ED and performance issues in the bedroom to help you regain your confidence and give you back the intimacy with your partner. Call Choice Men's Health right now to make an appointment and find out how you can eliminate ED on the first visit. Popular name brand pills like Viagra and Cialis don't work for everyone and can have serious side effects. Choice Men's Health custom medications work immediately, even if you have a medical history or think you're too old to perform like you used to. Choice Men's Health can help you have a fulfilling sex life again. Call Choice Men's Health today at 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170. Once again, that's 404-400-1170.
Hey, if you got weekend plans, make sure your home is ready for them. I called Wise Guys Pro Wash, and boom, the house, driveway, and patio were spotless. They even cleaned the roof. I didn't even have to be home. They are truly professionals using the top equipment in the industry, and their soft washing kept my home safe and damage-free, and the results, incredible. Wise Guys has more than 2,000 five-star reviews, and I know why now. So mention me, Chris Chandler, for $70 off your next service. Book today at wiseguysprowash.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. If you're over 50 and tired of your wireless bill getting higher and higher, there are 4 things to consider. 1, how much data are you really using? As we get older, we use less data on our wireless phone, but you're probably still paying for an unlimited plan that was designed for 20-somethings. 2, if you see Get a Phone on Us, get your sneakers out and run the other way. No one is giving you a free phone. You are paying for that phone over time with an overpriced rate plan and a long-term commitment. 3, check the fine print on that $15 a month plan. It's probably an intro price that'll double or triple later. You might even have to pay for several months of service up front. Number 4, be aware of cable company wireless plans. Most of your usage will be on Wi-Fi instead of 5G, and your calls and battery life could suffer. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide service without the big wireless bill. Our plans start at just $20 a month.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
9:51 on another fast-moving Monday edition of the Mark Arum Show. Yes, I'm back, friends. Hopefully a little later in the show, I'll get to tell you about my Japanese vacation. In the meantime, in between time, though, I have posted a bunch of pictures on my Instagram account and my Facebook account. You want to check it out at Mark Arum. One quick thing, Deborah. You'd be very proud of me.
Oh.
I'm going to get to the IDF spokesperson in just a second. So it was, planes, trains, and automobiles for this vacation. Maya and I took 8 separate airplane flights.
Oh my
over
gosh.
the last 9 days. Yeah, it's crazy. So we landed in Tokyo, and then we didn't stay in Tokyo this time. We landed in Tokyo and then had a connecting flight to Sapporo, which is in northern Japan. So we were going to check into that into the flight to Sapporo, and there was a Hispanic couple there struggling to communicate with the Japanese guy at whatever airline it was. To be fair, the Japanese dude spoke both English and Japanese, but these people only spoke Spanish. So they couldn't. There was no way. So in steps me with my Spanglish abilities.
Wow.
And I was able. So I asked the Hispanic couple. I'm like, okay, what do you need? Whatever. And they showed me that they were trying to get to a certain thing to drop off their bags or whatever. So I was like, okay. So I asked in English to the Japanese guy at the airline, and I was like, hey, they're trying to get to drop their bags. Where do you go? And he was like, oh, all right, they got to go to 13, like gate whatever 13. So then I'm like, 13. Oh, okay. I was like, ahora. I start. And then I couldn't think of the Spanish word for 13.
Trece.
Yeah, trece. So I'm like, uno, dos, tres, cuatro. But I got them, like, miraculously, my broken Spanglish.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Thank God you've been to Taco Bell those many times.
Well,
if they would have had a number 13 meal, you would have had it right off the top of your
Exactly.
head.
There's no trece value meal. But I was, as I'm doing it, I'm looking at mine. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to tell Deborah about this. I cannot wait to tell Deborah that my
I'm putting translator on on your
yeah,
resume.
my minuscule Spanish came in. Like the Spanish couple, they were elderly couple. They were ecstatic. They're like, oh my God, this gringo, this gringo came out of nowhere.
Adam Sandler came out of nowhere.
So anyway, I just wanted to share that story. If we have time, I'll go a little bit deeper into what happened with my Japanese vacation. But I do want to update Israel's response to the surgical strike made by the United States in Tehran. This was an IDF spokesperson this morning on CNN asked, is Israel, we were talking about regime change, is Israel looking to create a regime change here?
You could indeed interpret it in that way, and I think it would make sense that is indeed what's happening. But you could also interpret it as the Israeli government or the defense establishment signaling to the Iranians that if you continue to fire at Israel, which the Iranian regime has been doing, then Israel will escalate and we will higher the stakes for the Iranian regime, indicating that the first objective of dismantling Iran's nuclear weapons program is being dealt with, and that things can escalate that would really threaten the regime unless the Iranian regime understands the severity of the situation that it is in and stops firing missiles at Israeli civilians.
IDF spokesperson this morning on CNN, former military general, by the way, or a military colonel. His name escapes me now. Vinny's going to get it for me. Jonathan Conricus. That's it. Thank you. Talking about the regime change. He was also asked how Israel is assessing the airstrikes that the United States took out on Iran.
Yeah, so Israeli intel working lockstep with American intel is assessing as we speak. Of course, the more challenging location just physically to assess and really get updated, verified technical BDA, battle damage assessment, is Fordo. And it's also the most important site, very deeply underground, and it'll take time. And as I think also reported on CNN, Israel conducted additional strikes at the Fordo location in order to limit access in and out of whatever was there or wasn't there. And I think the assessment is ongoing. I think the initial BDA, which is not yet final, is that the strikes were effective, but we'll have to be patient and wait for the final technical intel-based assessment. But it looks as if the strikes were very good and that a significant and perhaps crucial blow was delivered to Iran's nuclear weapons program.
IDF spokesman Jonathan Conricus this morning on CNN. Again, we don't know for sure. We're getting preliminary information about those bunker busters and their effectiveness. I guess the big question remains is how much of that enriched uranium was taken out by these massive bunker busting bombs in those three locations. But, it's pretty remarkable. Israel kind of, they had ratcheted up the attacks in Iran, took out a lot of their anti-aircraft capabilities, which enabled the United States' stealth bombers to go in. Not a single shot fired against our bombers when they carried. Not a single shot was fired against them when we took out those facilities, which is pretty remarkable. All right, news, weather, and traffic in under 3 minutes. When we come back, we're going to continue our team coverage. We're going to be joined by Mike Lyons from the Modern War Institute. You talk about a modern war. That's what we are looking at right now with Iran, so we'll pick his brain. Eric Erickson's reaction at 10:35 and 11:05. We're going to go live to Israel, talk to Robert Berger, our correspondent there in Jerusalem. So much more to come on this strategic strike in Iran by the United States. Be right back. It's the Mark Arum Show on WSB.
WSB Atlanta, WSB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
The Guaranteed Offer from Mark Spain Real Estate is the easiest way to sell your home. You can save time, make the most money, and eliminate all the hassle this summer. Hi, it's Chris Chandler. My friends at Mark Spain Real Estate can sell your home with the strongest all-cash offer in the industry and help you move on your timeline. With over 67,000 satisfied clients, you can trust the most experienced real estate team in the U.S. to sell your home fast and for maximum profit. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing.
With thousands of 5-star reviews, it's no wonder CertaPro Painters is Greater Atlanta's most preferred painting company. Hear from one of their happy customers.
We wanted to add some color to our walls, so we hired CertaPro. We had built-in shelves that were supposed to be ready to paint when they got there, which they were not. CertaPro spent hours caulking and sanding to make sure the job was done right. It's rare to find a crew with integrity who really take pride in their work.
When choosing a painting professional, choose happy. Choose CertaPro Painters.
Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated.
No one in Georgia treats more kids with cancer and blood disorders, and no one in the Southeast is doing more to advance pediatric cancer research. The Aflac Cancer and Blood Disorder Center of Children's Healthcare of Atlanta cares for thousands of patients each year and offers access to hundreds of clinical trials to kids whose survival depends on new treatment. Listen July 24th and 25th to the 25th annual 95.5 WSB Carathon and support research to find cures. Visit choa.org/carathon to make a donation today.
Man's best friend, loyal, trustworthy, dependable. Aw, that's Rufus the Bulldog, the chief barking officer for Findlay Roofing. The Roof guys. Dave Baker here. For over 30 years, Findlay Roofing's been your roof's best friend. Loyal with a lifetime warranty, trustworthy with upfront pricing, and dependable with the highest quality work. When it comes to your roof, think of Rufus and Findlay first. 0% financing available. FindlayRoofing.com.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Good morning. The time is 10 o'clock. I'm Jonathan O'Brien. This news brought to you by TE Certified Electrical Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Our top story. Continued tension in the Middle East following U.S. airstrikes on Iran's nuclear sites over the weekend. Israel says this morning that it hit government targets inside the Iranian capital of Tehran. Iran is disputing the extent of the damage from U.S. strikes, and correspondent Ramian Asensio reports Iran has reached out to Russia.
Iran's foreign minister Sayed Abbas Araghchi is now in Moscow. He flew over yesterday to meet President Vladimir Putin and said that Iran will now coordinate with Russia on some kind of response. And after he landed, he said that these two countries have common enemies and that the two are also quote-unquote friends.
Meanwhile, domestically, local law enforcement is on alert for any possible retaliation brought on by the conflict with Iran, and Governor Kemp is weighing in on the U.S. strikes.
The governor says he backs President Trump's decision to strike nuclear targets, calling it an action of defense. But he doesn't think the administration will do much more, depending on Iran's reaction.
They do not want troops on the ground in an extended war in the Middle East. We've been there and done that.
Kemp confirms he's been briefed along with other officials from around the country by Homeland Security.
Just making sure that people are aware of things like cyber attacks in these type situations.
The governor says he doesn't want Georgians to be overly worried, but says if you see something suspicious, report it. Jennifer Perry, 95.5 WSB.
The State Department is out with a worldwide caution security alert following that U.S. military action in Iran. American citizens are being urged to exercise increased caution as tensions soar in the Middle East. Check back often for updates on the conflict between Israel and Iran. We'll have coverage throughout the day and breaking news as it happens. 78 degrees here in Midtown Atlanta. The heat is on today, and it's going to stay that way this week, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards.
The hottest day of the year so far may occur on Tuesday with a forecast high of 98. Now, this time last year, Atlanta did reach 100 degrees. That occurred on June 26, 2024.
She'll have Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming your way in just a couple of minutes. New details this morning as Cobb police investigate a deadly shooting inside an apartment near the Kennesaw State campus.
Police were called to the Bixby Apartments on Busby Parkway, and they say the suspect, identified as 22-year-old Anthony Lockett, fired multiple shots.
An argument inside of a Bixby apartment led to gunfire that left one man dead and another woman injured.
Cobb police spokesman Aaron Wilson says another person in the apartment returned fire after Lockett began shooting. 24-year-old Jalen Parker died. The female victim, 40-year-old Antoinette Hammonds, is the mother of the suspect. She's now in stable condition at the hospital. Her son in custody, charged with murder. Graham Carroll, 95.5 WSB.
We're following a developing story out of Midtown Atlanta this morning. Atlanta fire rescue crews are on scene of a carbon monoxide leak at a Midtown shopping center. Officials say at least 2 people complained of headaches. Several businesses in that shopping center in the 900 block of Monroe Drive have been evacuated. We're working to learn more. Stay with WSB for updates. To New York now, where the prosecution is expected to rest its case today in the sex trafficking trial of Sean Diddy Combs. The embattled hip-hop mogul has pleaded not guilty to all charges. Today marks the start of the 7th week of his trial. And as hurricane season ramps up, a local welfare
Care Organization urges us to think about our pets.
Make sure you have a plan for you and your pets. Know what you're going to do, what you're going to bring, where you're going to go, who you might call to help support you.
Sharon Hawa with Best Friends Animal Society says make sure your pet is microchipped in case you're separated, and make sure you have a go bag with their vaccine record and any medicines. She recommends the 3 Ps: make a plan, pack, and prepare to mobilize. It's 10:03. The Mark Arum Show continues in less than 2 minutes, but first, live team coverage of traffic and weather. Ashley Frasca standing by in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Thank you, Jonathan. Good morning. Unfortunately, we have trouble on the downtown connector, and folks are out of their vehicles. That is never a good idea. This crash on 7585 southbound before North Avenue knocks out a center lane. Be very careful as you're rolling into the slow traffic beginning before 17th Street. And over in the Dallas area, Paulding County Sheriff's warn of a gas leak. It's got Dallas-Ackworth Highway shut down near Seven Hills Connector. I'm Ashley Frasca, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly cloudy, hot today, high 94, lows tonight in the mid-70s. Even hotter for tomorrow with partly cloudy skies, high 98. Wednesday, partly cloudy with an isolated pop-up storm, high 97.
85 degrees in Marietta, 85 in Conyers, and it's 78 here in Midtown. More news at 10:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Jonathan O'Brien, 95.5 WSB.
Did I hear Christina Edwards right? A high of 98? Holy moly. Welcome back to the Mark Arum Show, 10:05, 5 minutes after 10 o'clock. I'm here, you're there. The whole gang's with us as I return triumphantly from my vacation to Japan. Deborah is the executive producer of the show. Longoria, the stoic Eskimo on the other side of the takeout window. Vinny, 2 slices, screens your calls. Coming up in 30 minutes, Eric Erickson's going to join us live talking about the Iran strike. 11:05, we're going to be joined by Colonel Jeff McCausland, the military analyst from CBS News. And at 11:12, we're going to go live to Jerusalem with CBS correspondent Robert Berger. In the meantime, we continue to get global reaction to what President Trump said when he addressed the nation.
Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill.
Continue our coverage now. Join us live from the Modern War Institute, West Point, Mike Lyons. Mike, good morning. Thanks for your time.
Hi, good morning, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Are you currently in West Point?
No, I'm actually in Yonkers, but I do work at the military.
I went to Marist College, now Marist University.
Yeah,
so a very lovely Hudson Valley. I'm sure it's not 98 degrees in the Hudson Valley today.
Heat wave today here. Sure.
I'm sorry. All right, Mike, thanks for joining us. Your initial reaction to that stealth bomber strike on the 3 Iranian nuclear facilities?
Well, I thought that it would happen. I was surprised it happened Saturday night. I thought the president was going to give the Iranians maybe a few more days. He did say it was in a 2-week window. I thought that the fact that we deployed B-2s going to Guam, we put that information out there, was perfect deception. All of warfare is deception. So I was very impressed by that. It just shows tremendous American capability. I think it sent a signal not only to the Iranians but to the Chinese and everybody out there about what American military might and what it can do. I think the conditions were perfect for it to happen. I think it was inevitable. I'm glad that we finally did that. I think that at some point the United States and Israel would have gone after the Iranian nuclear capability as it's getting very close. So the target was clear. It's an extension of our foreign policy. We're not at war with Iran, although Iran's been at war with us for the last 47 years. But I think the president acted accordingly, and now we have to see what the next steps are.
Yeah, well, what happens next? What do you think Iran's response might be?
Well, we're on the escalation ladder right now. I think that in the past that we were so worried about de-escalation ourselves when they would do something. So at this point, we have to see. There's still a lot of rhetoric that's coming out of Iran right now. I don't personally think they're ever going to negotiate. I think they're going to fight to the very end here. I do believe the Israelis will eventually go after the supreme leader, and I think you'll see them eventually be successful at that. I think this is a generational opportunity for us and for the world to reset the entire Middle East, and I do think that the regime is not going to survive. So I think we'll get back and help if we find, for example, that they were able to remove some of that radioactive material at some of the centrifuges and they start trying to do this some other place, I think we'll go after those targets as well. This is a time for war from Israel's perspective. They look at that as an existential threat. It's one thing to have a nuke, it's another thing to deliver it. And the fact of the matter is the Iranians brought the delivery part first to the table. They have that capability to deliver it right away. It's the North Korean problem. North Korean can't really deliver their nukes. They could maybe push it across the border into South Korea, but that's about it. But the Iranians would be able to do it if they developed a nuclear weapon, which is why it's important that they don't.
Mike Lyons from the Modern War Institute joining us live on the Mark Arum Show. At the top of the show, talking about the Iranian possible response, Mike, I said there are three possibilities. One, and it's the least likely, is that Iran tucks tails, realize they're in the deep end without any help, and they come to the negotiating table, and there is no reaction. Second, a muted military response. Obviously, they're still attacking Israel, but maybe they do some surgical strikes on some U.S. military assets in the region, or maybe an embassy strike or something like that. And then the third and scariest might be a full escalation where they team with Russia, they close the strait, they topple the global oil market, and this thing escalates out of hand. Of those three possibilities, which do you think is most likely, or am I forgetting another possibility that could happen?
So last time they waited 5 days before they responded to our attack on Soleimani. I think that they are pondering some of those potential kind of responses. I don't think they have any allies right now, the Russians, the Chinese. Their entire proxy armies have been decimated. There's no militias sitting inside of Syria ready to attack anybody. So perhaps they launch a missile at a U.S. air asset someplace. Maybe it hits it, maybe it doesn't. The president has been specific about if an American is killed, they might feel like they have to respond. They're threatening asymmetrics. They're unleashing these sleeper cells, which to me is more Hollywood than it is anything else. I just don't see that as a viable option. Our infrastructure has been hardened. Our Homeland Security and our FBI are well leaning forward in their saddles with regard to any of those situations. So I think it's a lot of bluster right now. I think it's the beginning of the end of the Iranian regime. And if they were smart, there's not a lot of negotiating. That's the thing. I don't see them negotiating. Anytime they negotiated in the past, they just use it to buy time. Israel is running out of time. You could see they're going after Republican guard units headquarters right now, and they're going after the center of gravities of their capabilities.
This might be outside of your expertise, Mike, or your purview, but how would that regime change happen? Would that be an internal uprising? How could that eventually come to reality?
I'm not sure. There's lots of different options that could happen. And historically, the military has some say in that. The problem is there's a couple of different militaries inside of Iran. There's the military that's the Republican guards that are aligned with the regime, and then there's this other military that's used for, let's say, internal that they would use if they ever were invaded, let's say. So there will be some conflict that would take place inside of Iran when we see that happening. I don't believe this is the Colin Powell, you break it, you buy it rule from the United States. I think we have no responsibility to rebuild this. I think that there's other countries there, Turkey, for example, other Middle Eastern countries that could possibly help get involved and facilitate some kind of regime change. But I think it's going to be very difficult. Culturally, they have been in charge since for 47 years since that revolution, and it's affected my entire life. I personally think Iran is the greatest U.S. foreign policy failure in a post-World War II era. I think that it's affected everything since those Iranian hostages were taken and the Americans were taken hostage there. And so for this to be the end of it, I think would like to see nothing more.
All right, you mentioned the sleeper cell possibility. I'm going to play some audio. This is Rebecca Weiner. She is the New York Police Department Deputy Commissioner of Intelligence and Counterterrorism.
With an actor like Iran, it really is about intel, working with partners, monitoring tips and leads. So that is our standard operating procedure as it relates to Iran whenever there is a major incident that increases the threat.
So obviously major cities, New York, D.C., here in Atlanta, I would imagine law enforcement agencies have their antennas up. But you don't think that would be is a realistic fear here on the mainland?
I really don't. I think that's one way that they try to sow fear and doubt in Americans, and I just don't believe that that's an alternative. I think since 9/11, we have become as creative as our enemies when it comes to how we can be attacked. We've hardened our soft targets, our water supplies and electrical grids. We weren't very creative back in September of 9/11 when we didn't believe that our enemy would turn commercial airliners into missiles. And so I think that our creativity is high now, and we're monitoring the situation very closely. And I think that's just a classic psychological play coming from this regime that just really doesn't value human life.
Mike Lyons, Modern War Institute. Mike, really appreciate your insight and your time, my friend. Thank you so much.
Great. Thanks for having me.
There you go. Mike Lyons from the Modern War Institute in beautiful West Point. Mike served, graduated from West Point. Really good insight there. Again, we are going to pick Erick Erickson's brain. I haven't really touched the political angle of this story. I want to wait till we get Eric on because he obviously is more well-versed on the reaction on Capitol Hill from what the strike meant. Obviously, there have been some questions that should President Trump have gotten congressional authority. Erick Erickson is going to join us live at 10:35. And at 10:05, CBS News military analyst Colonel Jeff McCausland. Love having him as an asset here. He is going to talk about the Iranian strike and the success of the Iranian strike and what that means moving forward. But as I mentioned earlier in the show, this hopefully will be a one-and-done strike by the U.S. against Iran. We won't need to do anything else militarily in the area. But in the meantime, Israel and Iran keep trading munitions. Nick Robertson from CNN in Tel Aviv this morning.
Yeah, the Israeli defense minister really echoing what Fred was saying there, using the word unprecedented. The defense minister, Israel Katz, saying Israel is using, the IDF is using unprecedented force in Tehran. And he listed some of the targets. Evin Prison. This is a prison where the leadership in Iran locks up the most feared by them political prisoners. The voices and the people that create dissent in Iran end up in Evin Prison, as well as many of the foreigners, Americans and others who've been detained in Iran. The defense minister in Israel also saying that they're targeting the besieged forces. This is a volunteer paramilitary force, part of the much bigger IRGC, Iran's elite military force. And these besieged paramilitaries are the ones that go out on the streets, enforce the regime's, the Iranian leadership's will, if you like. They're the ones that are feared in these anti-regime protests in Iran because they come out on the streets and beat up the protesters in quite a violent way. So what it appears Israel is targeting are some of the most feared regime elements inside of Iran. And this is a shift. It's not a complete change, but it's a shift in what Israel is targeting. Continuing to target the Fordow nuclear facility today, continuing to target airfields, missile launch sites, missile storage facilities, but branching out now into elements of the Iranian leadership's repressive tools against its population. And when you see the doors being blown off of Evin Jail, which is what appears to have happened, it speaks to that idea, that notion of perhaps moving towards regime change, certainly giving confidence to those elements on the streets and in the jails of Tehran that would want regime change and enabling them potentially to maneuver for that. Again, this is early indications. I should just add there as well that Iran has changed up its tactics on Israel as well, that it's launching fewer missiles, but in more drawn-out barrages, trying to disrupt life here more, it appears.
There's Nick Robertson, Tel Aviv this morning. Coming up next hour, we're going to go live to Jerusalem. CBS correspondent Robert Berger, the latest there. Again, Israeli, very tactical strikes right now in Iran. The big question is, how would that regime change happen? Another thing we can ask Robert Berger coming up next hour on the Mark Arum Show. Quick break. When we come back, we'll continue our coverage of the Iranian strike. But first, I don't know if you heard, Ashley. Christina said a high of 98 today.
Ugh.
I predict road rage at 98 degrees. How are we doing on the roads right now?
Well, thankfully, everybody behaving, and we have better news in Midtown. The crash that was in a center lane on 7585 southbound before North Avenue, that has gotten pushed out of the way. Still slow on the Buford Spring Connector south into town, though. And a heads up in Johns Creek, they've been doing a crash investigation. McGinnis Ferry Road eastbound has been shut down at Technology Circle. Traffic brought to you by Stone Mountain Park. See the exact fireworks show July 1st to the 7th at Stone Mountain Park. All new fire drones and the light show and fireworks finale. Tickets at stonemountainpark.com. I'm Ashley Frasca, 95.5 WSB.
It doesn't have to be like this.
You don't have to put up with it.
Shutting down the ramp from 285 east.
You don't have to sit in it.
It takes almost 30 minutes to go 400 south.
And you don't have to look at your phone to get out of it.
It is Atlanta traffic, and getting you out of it is what we do best.
We had a lot going on this morning through Henry County.
Updated traffic as often as you need it from local traffic reporters 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
It's a jackknife tractor trailer.
Triple team traffic.
95.5 WSB.
How Atlanta gets there.
2 keys to surviving a brutal Atlanta summer. Number 1, stay hydrated. Drink your water, folks. Number 2, make sure your air conditioning unit can handle your needs. It's Mark Aaron back from my friends at Reliable Heating and Air. You need AC this summer. You need an AC that works and is reliable, and you need to save money. Check out this offer. Get any sized AC, just $69.99 a month. That's it. 0 down. Low monthly payments, all future repairs, maintenance, even filters are no additional charge for life. An unbeatable lifetime warranty. Plus, you get 24/7 service and next day installations guaranteed, or Reliable pays you $500. Book an appointment for a convenient time right on their website at reliableair.com and click on the schedule service button, or call or text 770-594-9969, 770-594-9969.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, every week on the show, we offer folks something we call the Portfolio X-Ray. I was hoping you could walk us through that process and tell us why the information it uncovers is so powerful.
Yeah, so the reason we love doing the Portfolio X-Ray for you is we do that behind the scenes. Everybody's extremely busy. Nobody wants to waste time in traffic. If you call in, we will ask you for some information via the phone. Once you've given us that information, we go to work and we put all the hours in developing the report. And I commit this to you. The Portfolio X-Ray is eye-opening. At least 90+% of the time, we can find 2 or 3 golden nuggets in there that you were not aware of that we can either change in your current portfolio mix for you. It's called a 401k optimizer. Or if we manage the assets for you, we certainly can recommend how to diversify away from some of the troubling points that are exposed during the Portfolio X-ray. Once we've got that, then we'll have you in for your initial consultation. We will present the Portfolio X-ray to you and walk you through the high points of it. And that's a document that you get to take with you. It's like getting a financial physical. Mm-hmm. So how many of you avoided going to the doctor for the annual physical last year? You do the same thing with your financial life. You ignore it. You keep pumping money into your 401k. You hope that it's going well, and I can tell you that hope is not a good investment or financial planning strategy. You need to know. So if you want to know, call us.
The Portfolio X-Ray is complimentary. Give Hoffman Financial Group a call to schedule yours today. 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
That's you, looking at your garage door, and you're wondering, if it gets windy, just how much can this door take? 20 miles an hour? 30 miles an hour? Sure, if we get a little wind, your buddy says if you back the car up against it just right, you can probably save it. But what's your clever plan the next time we get a storm with a name? At Mo Better Garage, we make that way mo better. Storm-rated doors are built to withstand heavy winds, even if your building codes aren't there yet. It's like the door to the safe that protects your whole house. Stronger materials, heavy-duty motors and springs to handle the weight, and reinforced struts to keep it from bowing out in the wind. How do I know it won't bow? Because I'm Mo. Call Mo Better Garage and we'll make sure you're prepared the next time a storm with a name comes sailing across the Gulf of Mo.
Mo Better Garage, we make it way more better.
MoBetterGarage.com.
What is All Care? All Care is expert urgent care and primary care under a single roof, offering convenience and continuity for your healthcare needs. All Care is a team of physicians and clinicians who know you and your medical history, so they can provide the personalized care you deserve. And with both family and immediate care services offered 7 days a week, All Care means seeing your doctor on your schedule. 15 convenient locations, same-day appointments, and walk-ins welcome. Remember, urgent care plus primary care equals All Care. Learn more at allcare-ga.com.
Last night on President Trump's orders, U.S. Central Command conducted a precision strike in the middle of the night against 3 nuclear facilities in Iran.
Secretary of State Pete Hegseth talking about the precise strike the U.S. carried out in Iran, 3 separate nuclear facilities with the bunker-busting bombs. I was concerned what the markets might do today, right, with this reaction. But they're all up. Dow's up $191, Nasdaq's up 111 points, and oil is down $73 a barrel, which I thought was going to shoot up because the possibility of Iran shutting down the Strait of Hormuz. Deborah, apparently a quarter of the world's oil goes through this strait, and Iran is threatening to shut it down, which could, rattle the energy markets around the globe. What more can you tell us about this strait?
Yeah, so they're saying about 20% of the world's oil goes through this strait here, and that would mean about blocking $1 billion a day in oil, which is why people were thinking, oh, gas is going to shoot up. And it has already, but maybe not in the United States yet, because most of this is going to affect Asia more than it will be the United States. So I'm sure we'll see some backlash here eventually, but right now it's really just affecting Japan and China, not so much the U.S.
Interesting. But that's $1 billion a day.
Billion. Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm familiar with the strait, but I don't know how Iran would block. And I heard one of the Middle East analysts on one of the cable news networks this morning talking about they could put not landmines, but water mines.
So they're saying it's a pretty narrow strait, the way it kind of curves and everything, and they technically can't. But yeah, basically just it's very shallow. So even by just putting some boats there, it would make it very difficult for anyone else to get by.
Interesting. So it could affect the Asian oil market more than, I know China is they don't want the strait. So we'll see how much influence China has on Iran. Russia, on the other hand, would love that strait to be closed because they have their own oil capabilities. Very interesting. I'll tell you what, it was a different vibe in Japan this time than the previous times, especially in Sapporo. I don't know, this is just anecdotal, but I don't think that the world is in love with Americans right now. We talked to one of the cab drivers we took in Hokkaido. I obviously don't speak Japanese, but Maya was talking to the cab driver, and he asked where we were from, the United States. He's like, oh, I'd love to visit. But he's like, I'm not going to go until you have a new president.
Oh.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. Again, it was my first time ever being in Sapporo, so I don't know if they just don't like tourists in general, but it was definitely a different vibe, this trip. At least in that section of Japan, which I found very interesting. Usually it's welcome open arms to see the American tourist, but maybe not so much right now. All right, thank you, Deborah. When we come back, I've been purposely avoiding the political questions about the strategic Iran strike, but luckily our man Eric Erickson is going to join us live, and we can pick his brain about the political backlash or support the president might have with these what appear to be very successful strikes. Social media is active. If you want to see my Japan pictures, up on my Instagram right now, @MarkAaron.
School's out and everyone is home, so trustworthy air conditioning and cool comfort is a must. Ashley Frasca here to tell you this June, Ragsdale gives you up to $1,700 off a brand new Carrier home comfort system. Along with saving big, you'll enjoy Ragsdale's own trusted 15-year parts and labor warranty on your new Carrier system that's zero repair cost until June of 2040. For years now, Ragsdale has helped us stay comfortable, from installing a new high-efficiency system in our home and getting much-needed AC to the basement, to installing outdoor electrical outlets so we can spend more time on the back deck. Ragsdale has been the name I know you can trust for all of your plumbing, electrical, and insulation needs. And they're a great company to work for. Many employees have been at Ragsdale for 10, 20, even 30 years, so you know you're getting valuable experience and expertise in your home. Schedule your next visit online at ragsdaleair.com or give one of their many friendly customer service reps a call now. Ragsdale, the name I know you can trust.
I'm consumer investigator Dale Cardwell, and for over a decade, I've trusted America's best choice for windows, doors, siding, and decks.
Spring is the perfect time to update your home, and America's Best Choice makes it easy with these spring specials. Highest quality, energy-efficient windows starting at just $299. Take 10% off a new deck and create the outdoor oasis of your dreams. No pressure, no gimmicks. Visit abcwin.com today to schedule your free consultation.
The big focus in America today is on your health, and more people looking beyond pills and steroids and surgery. Hey, it's Mark Aaron for QC Kinetics. At QC Kinetics, they've been on the cutting edge of this medical revolution since 2018. Using regenerative medicine, they have helped tens of thousands of people get lasting joint pain relief using natural treatments that harness your body's own healing power. The truth is, regenerative medicine used to be an alternative treatment. Now it's mainstream, and QC Kinetics is the nation's leader. They're well-respected protocols include potent and powerful cellular-level treatments to revitalize and restore damaged joint tissue. They're not masking the pain. They're going after the very source of it. Yes, you can say goodbye to that chronic pain and live your best life. Learn more about this revolutionary treatment and get a free consultation. Call QC Kinetics now. 770-285-8026. 770-285-8026. That's 770-285-8026.
It's time for Zerorez Air Duct Cleaning Summer Sale. Take advantage and get 15% off all cleaning services. Mention Chris Chandler to secure this deal today or book online at ZerorezAtlanta.com. Zerorez, all they leave is clean.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 10:30, I'm Jonathan O'Brien. This news brought to you by My Metro Atlanta Amco dealers. Our top story, continuing coverage of the conflict in the Middle East. Israel confirms they have conducted military strikes on sites inside the Iranian capital of Tehran. Correspondent Jordana Miller in Jerusalem says those were mainly targeted at the regime.
Israel has carried out strikes on Revolutionary Guard headquarters, the Ministry of Energy, one of the units or departments of Tehran University that is connected to the regime.
The White House says they want peace with Iran and de-escalation, and they hope the strikes lead to negotiations. But Trita Parsi is an expert in U.S.-Iranian relations and says that could be wishful thinking.
It's going to be very difficult. After you bomb a country, they're not necessarily going to be more eager to talk to you, particularly mindful of the fact that the bombing took place in the midst of negotiations.
And Iran is vowing to respond to the U.S. action, and the State Department has issued a worldwide caution security alert. American citizens are being urged to exercise increased caution as tensions soar in the Middle East. There are concerns that Iran could target U.S. bases and troops in the Middle East, and there are also concerns of the impacts domestically. Governor Kemp tells Atlanta's Morning News.
I wanted people to know that we're paying attention and that we're coordinating with all state agencies and the federal government.
He says that he has spoken with Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. Check back often for updates on the conflict between Israel and Iran. We'll have coverage throughout the day and breaking news as it happens. Now to the weather. The heat is on, and WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards says Atlanta will be under the broiler for the next few days. But we're not alone. The National Weather Service is forecasting highs up to 20 degrees above normal across the Midwest and Northeast. This woman is at an outdoor festival, and she's feeling it.
It feels like it's more than 90 right now. It's really hot.
The National Weather Service has issued extreme heat warnings or heat advisories in at least 26 states. A man is dead and a woman is injured following a shooting inside the Bixby Apartments on George Busby Parkway near Kennesaw State University. Compton police say the suspect, 22-year-old Anthony Lockett, argued with the people in the apartment earlier in the day.
The suspect then left, returned with other people, and confronted those inside with a gun.
Compton police spokesman Aaron Wilson says Lockett fired several shots, striking 24-year-old Jalen Parker, who did not survive. Someone else in the apartment also fired shots. The 40-year-old female shooting victim is the mother of the suspect. She's listed in stable condition at Kennestone Hospital. Lockett Crockett is in custody, charged with aggravated assault as well as murder. Atlanta fire rescue crews are on the scene of a carbon monoxide leak at a Midtown shopping center this morning. Officials say at least 2 people complained of headaches at the site in the 900 block of Monroe Drive. Atlanta fire rescue spokesman Andre Holmes
They're
says
continuing to monitor the air quality there now and just make sure before they leave everything checks out.
Several businesses in that shopping center off of Monroe Drive have been evacuated. We're working to learn more. Stay with WSB for continued updates. It's now 10:33, time for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Ashley Frasca is in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Picking up a slow zone through Stockbridge along 75 South. Brake lights begin at Highway 138. We've got a stalled big rig in the center lane just past Hudson Bridge, Eagles Landing, and an ongoing crash investigation in Johns Creek. It has McGinnis Ferry eastbound lanes blocked at Technology Circle, and a gas leak in Dallas. Dallas-Ackworth Highway may be shut down in both directions near the Seven Hills Connector. I'm Ashley Frasca, 95.5 WSB.
This is WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly cloudy and hot today, high 94, lows tonight in the mid-70s. Tomorrow, potentially the hottest day so far this year with a high of 98 and a partly cloudy sky. An isolated pop-up shower can't be ruled out on Wednesday, high 97.
86 degrees in Austell, 85 in Stone Mountain, and it's 81 degrees here in Midtown. More news at 11 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Jonathan O'Brien, 95.5 WSB.
When news breaks,
U.S. bombers are on their way home.
When the details emerge,
the U.S. carried out attacks on 3 nuclear sites in Iran.
When the president speaks,
Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated.
We've got it covered.
The strikes were a spectacular military success.
Listen often throughout the day for the very latest. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's breaking news
Final
station.
battle damage will take some time, but initial battle damage assessments indicate that all 3 sites sustained extremely severe damage and destruction.
General Dan Kane, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, talking about the Iranian strike. Eric Erickson joins us live next on the Mark Arum Show.
No one in Georgia treats more kids with cancer and blood disorders, and no one in the Southeast is doing more to advance pediatric cancer research. The Aflac Cancer and Blood Disorder Center of Children's Healthcare of Atlanta cares for thousands of patients each year and offers access to hundreds of clinical trials to kids whose survival depends on new treatment. Listen July 24th and 25th to the 25th annual 95.5 WSB Carathon and support research to find cures. Visit choa.org/carathon to make a donation today.
Summer's a time to feel and look your best, but I'm not talking about your abs or your tan. Hey guys, it's Mark Arum here. I'm talking about your hair. Restore that bald spot, reverse your receding hairline, or add volume to thinning during Advanced Hair's once-yearly summer savings event. Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment begins to regrow your own natural hair the very next day, and they guarantee your new hair will grow. There's absolutely no one in hair restoration I trust more than Advanced Hair. Take advantage of your flexible summer calendar and get the most hair for your dollar. Advanced Hair summer sales event on for a limited time, so get the details and schedule your free consultation today. 470-660-HAIR. One-day treatment, life-changing results. With Advanced Hair, your new hair is guaranteed to grow. Check out the incredible before and afters and take advantage of their best offer ever. That's 470-660-HAIR or advancedhair.com. 470-660-HAIR or advancedhair.com.
You know the best part about hot weather is walking into a cool, comfortable house, right? Dave Baker here for Coolray Heating and Cooling. Summer is here. Don't let HVAC problems ruin your fun. Coolray is offering up to $2,250 in rebates and free installation with the purchase of a complete home carrier system. Ready to stay cool this summer? Visit Coolray.com to book your appointment today and keep your home cool and comfortable all summer long. Coolray Carrier. Turn to the experts.
We devastated the Iranian nuclear program. But it's worth noting the operation did not target Iranian troops or the Iranian people.
One and done, question mark. That was Pete Hegseth discussing the what appears to be a very successful series of strikes by the United States and Iran. Joining us live, as he does every Monday at this time, our buddy Eric Erickson. Eric, good morning, my friend.
I mean, you go to Japan and all hell breaks loose in the world.
I called it, too. I said, everything is going to fall apart while I'm gone. I have purposely, for the first 90 minutes of the show, have not discussed any of the political impact of this strike. I've been saving it for you. So I have a lot of questions to ask. First off, should the president have discussed this with Congress or gotten congressional approval or told the Gang of Eight? That political angle first. Did the president, was he within his rights to do what he did?
Yeah, listen, legally, technically, according to the law, there needed to be some consultation, but no president has done that, including Barack Obama with the Libyan operation or the Syrian operation, and the parties are fine. The reality is when you have Amy Klobuchar, who's a Democrat from Minnesota, Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski, who are not Trump fans from their GOP, all saying this was a good operation, the president can get away with it. Nothing's going to happen to him.
As far as I can tell, the only Republican that was, well, there was a couple. Marjorie Taylor Greene won, but more importantly, Massey not happy with what went down. What's the deal between him and the president right now?
He's going to be primaried again. Now, he won the last time, but President Trump didn't make a real concerted effort. This time, he's going guns blazing after Thomas Massey, metaphorically speaking, in Kentucky, to try to primary him. Massey's kind of a lone man. He doesn't really care, frankly. He thinks he can win re-election, and Massey's kind of the thorn in every Republican side. He very rarely votes with leadership. He never votes on spending bills, and he's very much an isolationist, and Trump wants to oust him. He's not really aligned with where the party is in any direction.
I saw Speaker Johnson fully endorse the Iranian strike. What were some of the other big figures on Capitol Hill's reaction? Mostly supportive of this strike?
Yeah, the Democrats, of course, they've all got concerns. They wanted consultation. One of the big issues is leaking. There is a very anti-Israel contingent among Democrats, including some embedded within the bureaucracy of the United States. One of the major concerns the Trump administration had, operational security. Does stuff get leaked? Because they've seen anti-Israel spin leaks to the press pretty regularly. They wanted to stamp that out. The fact that they were able to pull this off and no one knew is actually major credit to the Trump administration for being able to do that.
Yeah, and I said at the beginning of the show, President Trump made that, 2 weeks. Yeah, we'll give him 2 weeks and see what happens, negotiate. Like, that was just a pump fake, right? Because this took weeks of planning. So this was already in the pipeline, these strikes. So a great job there. And an amazing, smoke screen was sending the bombers toward Guam with the transponders on, gave everyone a head fake. What's going on there? Meanwhile, the other bombers were heading to Iran.
Yeah, the fact that no one saw it coming in, and here's the real operational genius when you realize what happened is the bombers were essentially circling Iran undetected, waiting for the order to drop the bombs, and they're so stealthy, no one could see them there. So when the order came, the bombs could fall real quick.
How important was the buildup of the last 2 weeks, the Israeli fighters, the IDF fighters going into Iran and basically leveling any defense mechanisms that they might have to clear the path for the bombers?
So this is I'm glad you asked the question because it's actually significant and key to all of this. The Israelis had no guarantees from Donald Trump that he was going to go in. He's been very impressed by the Israeli operation. Everyone acknowledges he was impressed by it. And essentially, Netanyahu came to Trump and said, listen, we've wiped out their air capacity. We've wiped out the capacity for them to make war. We've wiped out their capacity to respond to a U.S. attack. We've done every possible thing we can do to weaken it. The only thing we can't do is drop bunker busters into Fordo. Only you can. They made it very easy for Trump to be able to engage.
And it was amazing during that press conference, I think it was yesterday, with Hegseth and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Kane said not a single shot was fired at our bombers, which is pretty remarkable.
Yeah, not only can they not be detected, but even the fighter jets with them, assuming they could be detected, there was no ground capacity anymore for Iran to be able to fire. They're going to have to regroup. Everyone is kind of bracing for some retaliation. What do? It's assumed it'll be targeting troops in the Middle East. There is some concern about sleeper cells in the United States, given how porous the border's been the last few years. But the fact that China, Russia, North Korea, Hezbollah, Hamas, everybody kind of set back, even the Houthi, and let this happen with no reciprocation, kind of tells you Iran doesn't have the alliance that it once thought it did. People are a little bit concerned. on their side that this regime could collapse.
Eric Erickson joining us live on the Mark Arum Show. We heard from Vice President J.D. Vance and the Secretary of State saying we're one and done. We don't want a regime change, et cetera, et cetera. President Trump on Truth Social says, hey, regime change might not be a bad idea. I think the rest of the world agrees that a regime change might not be a bad idea. But how would that regime change happen? Does it have to happen internally with another revolution of sorts?
This gets back to the Israelis. If you look at the strikes they're doing now in Iran, they're actually striking the facilities by which the regime maintains itself. They're now targeting the secret police. They're targeting media operations. They're targeting internet and communications operations. So Israel is now blowing up the things that the regime uses to keep its power in place. But it is going to have to be an internal revolution against the regime to actually make it happen. The Americans nor the Israelis can actually get in there and overthrow this regime. It's going to have to be the Iranian people.
And, the Arab Spring never really came to fruition. So what are the odds that we can see an internal revolution?
I don't know that we're going to. Iran, probably more than any other Middle Eastern country, has the capacity to do it. They've got a well-educated middle and upper middle class that actually doesn't like the regime. They've got a growing class of young people. Ironically, the day Israel invaded, Iran executed 24 teenagers who were accused of converting to Christianity the morning before the first bombs fell. There is a massive and growing middle-class sentiment in Iran that something needs to happen, but the people are unarmed and a little bit afraid of the regime.
And there's what, there are folks that have spent time in the West that see what life can be like. With a leader not of the supreme command, the supreme leader we have right now. I mean, there's a significant, and now that thanks to Tucker Carlson, I know there's 90 million people living in Iran.
Yes.
That I think that there's a sizable portion of that population that would be open to having a new regime.
Yeah, and let's not forget, a lot of Iranians are actually kin to people who live in Israel, given the Jewish diaspora. That they know what's possible, and frankly, many of the people who supported the Iranian Revolution back in the 1970s, they're old now, but they've come to regret what they put in place.
Behind closed doors, Eric, the Saudis, the Jordanians, the Egyptians, they're loving this, right?
They are, and you've got to note the public statements versus the private statements. When the public statements are released to local media, that's different from the public statements released internationally. And every public statement condemning what happened went to local media, including the statement from Saudi Arabia's foreign minister over the weekend went to local media. It didn't go to international press. That's a big signal to everyone globally that they're actually fine with what's happening to Iran.
Final question. Actually, it's just a favor. Can you send me the recipe for that Basque cheesecake that you posted on social?
Gosh.
That looked amazing.
Okay. Extremely, extremely easy to make. I was stunned by how easy it was to make, and no dishes to clean up, really, other than the mixing bowl.
Now, I'm on the Eric Erickson recipe text, so will I get it via that? Or
I'm going to need to. I need to revive my text list of recipes.
There you go. Eric's going to continue our team coverage of the what appears to be a really successful strike in Iran by the U.S. Eric is live noon to 3 every day on WSB. Eric, as always, buddy, thanks for your time.
Thank you. See you later.
Take care, buddy. Good stuff there from Eric. All right, quick break. When we come back, George Takei is going to join us of Star Trek fame. But first, it's already 88 degrees in Midtown Atlanta. How are we doing on the roads?
Tractor trailer trouble in the right lane through Stockbridge on 75 South, past Hudson Bridge. Eagles Landing has you on the brakes leaving Clayton County. Brake lights beginning before Highway 138. Just a brief delay downtown on the connector south, passing 17th Street. And construction delays as you leave Gwinnett County and headed to Jackson. 85 North, crews are working in the right lane past US 441 in Commerce. I'm Ashley Frasca, 95.5 WSB.
Is your summer vacation going to be a week at the beach or a week in the backyard standing in the kiddie pool?
If you listen to 95.5 WSB, that week at the beach could be yours. It's $1,000 Thursdays on WSB.
Your chance to win $1,000 every hour between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. on Thursdays.
Listen for the keyword. Enter the keyword at WSBradio.com or on the WSB app within that hour.
Get all the info at WSBradio.com.
$1,000 Thursdays, beginning this Thursday.
From 95.5 WSB.
Where Atlanta wins.
Is your old AC unit ready for another sweltering Atlanta summer? Probably not. Hey, good news. Mark Aaron back from my friends at Reliable. Great new deal going on right now, guys. Any size AC, just $69.99 a month, 0 down, low monthly payments, and next day installation guaranteed, or they pay you $500. Any AC, just $69.99 a month. Book an appointment for a convenient time right on their website at reliableair.com and click on the schedule service button or call or text 770-594-9969.
At Kroger, we've lowered prices on over 1,000 items across our stores so you can save even more. Whether you're shopping in-store or online at Kroger, we've lowered prices on thousands of the items your family wants and needs. And with lower prices, your dollar goes further every time you shop with us. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Right now, Kroger brand 80% lean ground beef is on sale. 16-ounce packages are only $4.99 each with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights. We can reawaken any space to make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Are the effects of diabetes, prostate cancer, hypertension, or high cholesterol robbing you of your ability to perform in the bedroom? Choice Men's Health can help you eliminate ED and get your bedroom performance back in just one visit. Choice Men's Health offers breakthrough treatments for ED and performance issues in the bedroom to help you regain your confidence and give you back the intimacy with your partner. Call Choice Men's Health right now to make an appointment and find out how you can eliminate ED on the first visit. Popular name brand pills like Viagra and Cialis don't work for everyone and can have serious side effects. Choice Men's Health custom medications work immediately, even if you have a medical history or think you're too old to perform like you used to. Choice Men's Health can help you have a fulfilling sex life again. Call Choice Men's Health today at 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170. Once again, that's 404-400-1170.
Yeah, about 12, 13 years ago, I remember sitting in the house watching TV when I noticed that one of the walls looked different. It was a darker shade than the rest of the walls. Upon further investigation, it was soft and wet to the touch. You know, not having any plumbing in that area, there's only one real explanation. My roof was leaking.
Dave Baker for Finley Roofing, the roof guys.
So I needed a new roof. Like any major repair for my house, I checked out a bunch of companies. Only one company passed all my criteria, though, Findlay Roofing, the roof guys. Findlay Roofing was the perfect match when it came to getting a new roof. Turned out they really are the extra effort experts. They treated my home like it was their own, tearing off the old shingles, installing new ones. They were neat and cleaned everything up, and I didn't pay anything until the job was complete. Right now, Findlay is offering upfront pricing, 0% financing, and a free roof analysis. When it comes to roofing issues, think of Findlay first. See them on the web at findlayroofing.com.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But what if you could get both? Why not? Especially when it comes to healthcare, and that is Medi-Share. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with Medi-Share, and that's huge, but it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. We know this from research of members. There's a lot they like about Medi-Share, but especially they love being part of something they believe in. And Medi-Share works, too. It has for more than 30 years. There are hundreds of thousands of members who love having telehealth if they need it. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you could save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or you're part of the gig economy or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Call 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE. 855-51-BIBLE.
Taking a break from our breaking news coverage, joining us live on the Mark Aram Show, the legend that is George Takei.
Good morning, everybody. Michelle,
George.
you are so beautiful. I love you, my darling.
I love you as well, George.
He was, one of these old.
All right, we're gonna George Takei. Is he talking to someone else there, Vin? Can you see what's going on? Anyway, George Takei. Takei? Deborah? Takei. I've been calling him George Takei for 51 years, so hopefully he's not hearing this. All right, Vinny's going to straighten it up. We'll get Mr. Takei on in just a second. He has got a new graphic novel out. I believe it's a graphic novel, right? Full-color graphic memoir from the team behind George Takei's award-winning bestseller, They Call Us Enemy, telling the untold story of George's journey from closeted actor to international icon. It rhymes with Takei, offers an unprecedented look into George's amazing career. All right, we'll get George up in a second. Deborah, while I have you, there was one, I didn't do anything adventurous when I was in Japan. There was one, we went to the top of a mountain on an island. It was crazy. We get to the top there. Gorgeous view. They had, it wasn't a zip line, but it was like a ski lift kind of thing, like a little caboose kind of thing.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I was like, nope, not going to do it. Like, it looked like it was from the 1800s. I'm like, I'm not going to.
Or it's like one cable and it's kind of swinging back and forth.
Yes. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do that. And Maya wasn't eager to do it either, so we didn't do it. But the only reason I bring that up is I've always wanted to go on a hot air balloon. Have you ever been in a hot air balloon?
I have when I was a young kid. Yeah, my mother worked for a bank, and for some reason they had like a family day, and they put us all in a hot air balloon.
Yeah,
that's the only time I've ever been in one.
So now I'm questioning. There was a hot air balloon mishap, Deborah.
It was an accident in Brazil, and a part of Brazil that is kind of does all of these hot air balloon rides. And I guess one of the balloons caught on fire, and they were trying to bring it down, but they couldn't get it down fast enough to the point where some of the people actually jumped when it got a little bit closer to the ground, injuring themselves. But not everybody was able to get out of the basket, and at least 8 people died from the fire that caught on the hot air balloon before they could land it.
That's 8 people died?
Yeah, it was a big balloon. I think there was like 20 people on it.
Oh, all right. So I've missed my window. I don't think I'm going to be
check that off the list.
Anyway, without further ado, I gave you the whole introduction there, George. George Takei joins us on the Mark Arum Show. Arigato gozaimasu.
You speak Japanese, but what were you talking about?
A hot air
8
balloon.
people died?
A hot air balloon. Was it in Brazil, Deborah?
Yes.
Yeah, hot air. Don't get in a hot air balloon, George. You're a treasure. We can't lose you.
Oh no, only starships.
Yeah, exactly right.
We go out to warp speed.
George, tell us about.
Somebody died.
8 people died. 8 people in a hot air balloon incident. Yeah. George, I just got back from Japan on Sunday morning. And I know, so I'm very fascinated by your recap of the terrible internment camp situation here in the United States in World War II.
We're Americans. My grandparents came from Japan, and we visited Japan many times. But after Pearl Harbor, this country went crazy. Simply because we looked like this, they thought we were a part of the bombing of Pearl Harbor, which is absolutely insane. But these people were made insane by war hysteria combined with racism, and with no charge, no trial, no due process, we were put into barbed wire prison camps for the duration of the Second World War. I was 5 years old. My brother was 4. My baby sister was a baby. It's one of the great tragedies and shame of the United States.
Yeah, pretty remarkable to think that actually could occur.
It's happening again. We were put in those prison camps, and they just plucked out of the thin air enemy aliens. We were neither. We weren't the enemy, and we weren't aliens. We had nothing to do with Pearl Harbor, and yet they put us into these barbed prison camps. They used the law Enemy Alien Act. Now, does that sound familiar?
Yeah, it's kind of it's been in the news for sure.
To deport thousands of immigrants with no charges, just like in our case, called criminals, murderers, foreigners, and gangsters, make up. I mean, when people are working on hysteria, they make up something that's not true, and they punish them for it. That's what happened to us during the Second World War.
George, I've got to break.
George,
I'm sorry, we've got to break for news, but it's Rhymes with Takei, available everywhere. Everywhere. All right.
Even in Atlanta.
Even in Atlanta. Love to Brad from all of us, by the way.
Thank you.
There you go. George Takei. It rhymes with Takei. Set to release his graphic memoir. It's available everywhere, even in Atlanta, according to George. All right, when we come back in depth on our big story, the strike in Iran. Military analyst Colonel Jeff McCausland is going to join us live. Then we go live to Jerusalem. All of that next on The Mark Arum Show.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
Atlanta DIY landlords, listen up. If you're exhausted from managing your rental properties all by yourself, my friends at Renters Warehouse Atlanta offering a 90-day test drive. Hire Renters Warehouse to manage your rental property for a low flat monthly fee as low as $115. If you're not satisfied at any time in the first 3 months, you can fire them. Get your management fees back. What do you get for that low flat monthly fee? A dedicated property management team, maintenance coordination, move in and move out property condition reports, advanced tenant screening with a 9-month tenant warranty, professional photography and videography, lease renewal processing and negotiations, online rent collection, monthly owner cash flow statements, and more. Renters Warehouse, so confident you'll love their service, they want an addition for your business. Choice is yours. Keep DIYing or see how Renters Warehouse can make your life easier. Start your 90-day test drive today. Go to rwatlanta.com or call 404-662-2322, 404-662-2322.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
It's 11 o'clock. I'm Jonathan O'Brien. This news brought to you by the Next Generation Xfinity 10G network. Our top story, continuing coverage of the tensions in the Middle East. President Trump is due to meet with his national security team at the White House this afternoon, following those U.S. strikes on Iran's nuclear program on Saturday. Correspondent Weijia Zhang has the latest from the White House.
The administration is reiterating that they believe that the ball is completely in Iran's court. They are urging Tehran to come back to the negotiating table and hash out an agreement to abandon its nuclear program. Given what has just unfolded in the past 48 hours, it is difficult to imagine how that is going to work.
Iran is vowing to respond to the U.S. action. All of this as Israel confirms they hit targets in the Iranian capital overnight. Governor Kemp confirms he's been briefed on potential security threats in the wake of the U.S. strikes on Iran.
The governor says the call between Homeland Security officials and leaders from several states focused on the possibility of things like cyber attacks. He says, though, don't be overly concerned.
Go about your day, but if you see something, say something.
Kemp says he thinks it was time to deal with Iran's nuclear threat.
I think it had just gotten to the point where it needed to be taken care of, and I'm certainly in support of that.
While Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene has criticized the president's actions, the governor says he does not think the president wants an extended war in the Middle East. Jennifer Perry, 95.5 WSB.
Check back often for updates on the conflict between Israel and Iran. We'll have coverage throughout the day and breaking news as it happens. 81 degrees here in Midtown Atlanta. The heat is on today, and it's going to stay that way this week, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards.
This heat wave will continue this week, with afternoon temperatures trending 5 to 10 degrees above average, finally cooling off as we get closer to the weekend as scattered rain showers and thunderstorms bring some relief to the heat.
She'll have Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up in just a couple of minutes. A mother and son are involved in a deadly shooting at an apartment complex in Kennesaw.
Police say 22-year-old Anthony Lockett had been involved in an argument at the Bixby Apartments earlier in the day. He returned sometime later with a gun.
Fired multiple shots inside the apartment, one of which struck Jalen Parker, a 24-year-old male of Kennesaw. An individual living inside the apartment then returned fire. The suspect's mother, Antoinette Hammonds, was also shot.
Aaron Wilson with Cobb Police says Parker died and Hammonds was taken to the hospital where she's listed in stable condition. Lockett is now facing aggravated assault and murder charges. Graham Carroll, 95.5 WSB.
New this hour, Atlanta Fire Rescue has given the all clear after a carbon monoxide leak closed some businesses in the 900 block of Monroe Drive this morning. Officials say the levels are back to normal and Atlanta Gas Light is on scene. Atlanta Fire Rescue spokesman Andre Holmes tells WSB these leaks are dangerous.
Carbon monoxide displaces oxygen. It basically suffocates the red blood cells that are delivering oxygen to you, and that's what makes it where people start to fall out and everything.
2 people on scene complained of headaches, but they are now listed in stable condition. And a new survey asks the question, how much money do you need to feel financially secure and comfortable?
Nearly half of Americans say they have to have a 6-figure annual income. In fact, more than a quarter of the people polled in Bankrate's Financial Freedom Survey said they need to make $150,000 or more. The Census Bureau, though, estimates that the average full-time worker earns about $81,500 a year.
Bloomberg's Dan Schwartzman says overall more than half of those surveyed admit they need more than what they currently earn to live comfortably. It's 11:03. The Mark Arum Show continues in less than 2 minutes, but first, it's time for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams is in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Hey, good morning, Jonathan. Still jammed up through Stockbridge. The stalled tractor trailer in the right lane, 75 southbound Hudson Bridge Road, exit 224. You're stacked up, leaving Highway 138. Hero on scene trying to relocate this. Elsewhere, you're seeing the brake lights, 285 southbound, the outer loop on the west side, just below South Cobb Drive. Most of those right lanes trying to ramp onto I-20 westbound. And don't forget, we still have a crash investigation in Johns Creek, shutting down McGinnis Ferry Road eastbound at Technology Parkway. So find your local ways around that. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly cloudy, hot today, high 94, lows tonight in the mid-70s. Even hotter for tomorrow with partly cloudy skies, high 98. Wednesday, partly cloudy with an isolated pop-up storm, high 97.
87 degrees in Roswell, 86 in Riverdale, and it's 82 here in Midtown. More news at 11:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Jonathan O'Brien, 95.5 WSB.
11:05 on this scorching hot Monday. Again, a very busy news day Monday. Welcome back, friends. Mark Arum and crew with you till noon. In just a couple minutes, we'll go live to Jerusalem, get Israeli reaction to the surgical stealth bomber strike on the 3 Iranian nuclear facilities that occurred over the weekend. Right now, though, we continue our team coverage. CBS News military analyst Colonel Jeff McCausland joins us live on the Mark Arum Show. Colonel, good morning. As always, thanks for your time.
Hey, Chris, great pleasure.
Didn't see this one coming. We thought there'd be a 2-week negotiating period, but obviously the military decided to, or the president decided to strike on these Iranian facilities. Your initial reaction to the strike and the results?
Well, of course, this was the president's decision. This particular plan, frankly, had been developed for many, many years, probably going back to the Obama administration. This particular weapon had been begun production on the weapon. It began back in the administration of George W. Bush. Potentially at that time, we're focused on Korea, frankly, additional deep nuclear sites, and then developed over time. So the plan had been in place. It was refined for this particular operation. I think on the one hand, one can only be impressed by a military operation of this scale. I mean, imagine all the services were involved. Many of our headquarters, European Command, Central Command, of course, Space Force was involved, of course. Indo-Pacific Command, because we conducted a very effective deception operation, sending some bombers westward while the main package went eastward. All those particular organizations had to be synchronized. 36-hour flight for these B-2 bombers leaving Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri, flying over target and returning. aerial refueled probably 5 or 6 times along the way, and still managed to achieve the mission without any loss of life, any loss of aircraft. And apparently, Iranians were either surprised or so weakened. No, to the best of my knowledge, Iranian air defense came up. No missiles were launched at our aircraft. No Iranian aircraft came aloft. No radars popped up. Just in and out. Having done that, now the president has said clearly, as has the SecDef and others, this focused, precise operation like that, intending on doing one thing, destroying Iranians' nuclear facilities, and we're sort of one and done. But in this kind of environment, your adversary gets a vote. And what the Iranians do now, of course, is the great open question: will they in fact retaliate? And one has to consider that 40,000 Americans are in that particular region, and whether you're in favor of the strike or you're opposed to the strike, we have to recognize that particular risk, and we have to prepare to do whatever we can to protect them. And then, frankly, Mark, I'm a little concerned by the fact that this seems to me to have been an act of war. Clearly, if the Iranians had attacked a major U.S. facility on our territory, we would consider that an act of war. And the president, basically by his statements, suggested there was no imminent need for the attack. Yes, there was reason to take this out. I don't argue with that. But there was no imminent threat against us, the United States, by Iran, frankly. They didn't have a weapon. And so it seemed to me that under our Constitution, the Senate should have been involved, which I think would have strengthened the president's position to try to move diplomatically, if that was at all possible, and strengthened really the signal we were sending, not only to the Iranians, but to our other adversaries around the globe.
Colonel Jeff McCausland joining us live on the Mark Arum Show. Colonel, you mentioned the refueling 5 times. Does that happen in the air or on the ground with those bombers?
Oh, no, this is all in the air. I mean, Imagine if you're an airman on this B-2 bomber, you just signed up for a 30 – we all worry about length of airplane rides. How would you like a 36-hour airplane ride?
Wow.
Okay, which is what it was from Whiteman over Target and back. And these are – you might think, well, a B-2 is really large. There must be lots of sleeping space. No, there's not. They actually take a couple folding chairs with them and grab some sleep as they can while conducting an operation like this.
Pretty remarkable. Colonel, do we know or will we ever know the success of those bunker busters? Any idea if we truly did knock out whatever nuclear facilities that Iran had?
Well, we don't know, and we do know by our, aerial reconnaissance, satellite imagery, and the like that we hit the targets. We do know grievous damage was done to these 3 facilities, without a doubt, most principally the facility at Fort Howe. But because of the nature of the target, this is like 300 feet underground is where the centrifuges are operating. The only way you're going to ascertain if, in fact, you actually destroyed those totally would be to send somebody down that hole and actually take a look. And obviously, we're not going to be afforded that particular opportunity. So I thought the chairman in his remarks at a press conference yesterday was pretty guarded, saying, BDA will come out over time. We'll look at that through all source intelligence, imagery. We'll be listening to chatter on Iranian transmissions between people trying to divine how well we did. What they do in the aftermath will be important. We do know by the International Atomic Energy Agency there has not been, as best we can tell, a significant release of radioactivity in the region to a dangerous level. That would have been expected, I think, anyway, due to the depth of the target, even if you had destroyed it. But the Iranians have claimed they moved all this enriched uranium out of the area prior to the attack. Is that true? Again, don't know. Would the Iranians claim that anyway? Probably. So the fact that they claim that now shouldn't be that terribly shocking. But long and the short of it, Mark, we have a high probability we hit these targets. How much we damaged or destroyed the Iranian nuclear capability, we'll learn over time.
Final quick question for you, Colonel. Should we be concerned that Russia might come in and help Iran rebuild whatever nuclear ambitions they might have?
They certainly might over time. That might be a longer-term effort on the part of the Russians as they try to seal this alliance that has been loosely called, the Russians, the Chinese, the North Koreans, and Russia. So they might do that over time. I don't see them doing that immediately for a host of reasons. One, the Russians are pretty heavily involved right now in a place called Ukraine, number one. Number two, I think Mr. Putin is going to try to do his best to appear to be above the fray, offer to mediate, try to make himself look like, a global actor. It was the height of hypocrisy, but his foreign minister, for example, condemned the United States for its aggressive attack against this sovereign state. Well, that's pretty hypocritical since you've been doing that for 3 years. But in the short term, the Russians, I think, kind of benefit. One, it distracts the United States away from Ukraine. That's what they want. They don't want Mr. Trump providing more support to Zelensky. They're very happy if we just move away from that. And if we're focused in a major war in the Middle East, that's what we're liable to do, number one. And number two, price of oil goes up. Price of oil goes up, that benefits the Russian economy. I mean, don't forget, as John McCain once said, Russia's basically a gas station with nuclear weapons. So when the price goes up, that helps the Russian economy.
Colonel Jeff McCausland, CBS News. Colonel, as always, appreciate your time, sir.
Thank you.
Continuing our team coverage now, we go live to Jerusalem. CBS News correspondent Robert Berger joining us live on the Mark Arum Show. Robert, good morning. Hope you're well.
Good morning, Mark.
I mean, we were all stunned here in the United States. What was the reaction in Israel to those targeted strikes in Iran?
Yeah, stunned, even though, of course, there was speculation and anticipation for days. But I think a lot of people really didn't expect in the end that Trump would go ahead and do this. Everyone was watching really closely, but, you know, he had kept putting out feelers that he wants a diplomatic solution and so on. And then he said, oh, well, you know, we're going to wait. We'll give you 2 weeks or up to 2 weeks. And then the next thing we knew, the Americans were bombing. Of course, that was well received over here by the Israelis.
I would imagine. And we heard from the prime minister after this targeted strike. What did Prime Minister Netanyahu say about it?
He thanked the United States and said that President Trump is a great friend of Israel and that this was a very important move to disable the nuclear facilities. And he also talked about the very warm relationship between him and President Trump, which President Trump also talked about. So, yeah, those two who have maybe had a little bit of a troubled relationship in the past seem to be getting along quite well. They seem to be on the same page nowadays.
Do we know if Israel was looped into this plan in advance?
Oh, yeah, of course. Now, in fact, it's been reported that Netanyahu actually knew about this a few days ago. There had been some, leaks by the Israeli government that they expected the U.S. to come in, but it was still, I think, it wasn't that hard. But in order to do this, they had to coordinate with the Israeli military. And Israeli jets actually had cleared the way, so to speak, before the American attack. They had cleared the flight path, so to speak, so the Americans could then go in and do their bombing runs.
Obviously, the United States going to be relying heavily on Israeli intelligence information as far as the success or lack of success of these attacks. Do we know if they were successful yet?
Well, they were definitely successful. Did the U.S. obliterate the Iranian nuclear program, as President Trump said? That remains to be seen. That may have been a little overly optimistic. But look, if you drop 14 of these bunker buster bombs on Iran, on that nuclear Fordo facility, if they weigh 30,000 pounds each, you caused extensive damage. But that was a well-fortified facility, and even the U.S. military said that they need a little time to assess the damage.
In the meantime, this might have been a one-and-done mission for the United States, but in the meantime, Israel and Iran keep exchanging fire. What's it like ground level in Israel right now, and what kind of artillery are we seeing coming in from Iran?
Well, it's a tough situation. Here in Jerusalem, we haven't had any direct hits, but in Tel Aviv and Haifa, there have been quite a number of hits. Now, most of these missiles don't get through, but if 10% get through, it can cause a lot of damage. These are not rockets like Israel is known from Gaza that carry maybe 20, 30 pounds of explosives. These missiles carry hundreds of pounds of explosives, and if they get through the defenses, they can cause massive damage. We've seen neighborhoods pretty much, I don't know about leveled, but they've been largely turned to rubble. Not that many people have been killed. The bomb shelters have been doing the trick, but a lot of people have lost their homes. And in the middle of the night, their sirens go off a couple of times, so a lot of people aren't getting any sleep all over the country.
Robert Berger joining us live in Jerusalem here on the Mark Arum Show. Final question for you, Robert. Iran has vowed to close the Strait of Hormuz. How important would that closure of the strait be to the global economic situation?
Well, if they do it, that would be a big deal, and then I'm sure that you would see the U.S. get involved once again, and that's why I'm not sure at all that Iran. That's really that would be a move of last resort, really, for them. It's about a large portion, about 20% of the world's oil passes through that Strait of Hormuz. It's a narrow strait in the Persian Gulf. The oil from Saudi Arabia and from Kuwait and the United Arab Emirates, all of those countries has to pass through that strait. Most of it's going to Asia, so it might not affect the U.S. oil market as much, but it would be a real blow to the world economy. I don't think the U.S. would allow it to happen for very long.
Robert Berger, CBS News, Jerusalem. Robert, thanks for your time. Please stay safe, my friend.
Thanks, Mark.
There you go. Checking the oil markets right now. Oil's actually down 80 cents per barrel, and the Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ are all up. So Wall Street is nonplussed with that targeted strike from Iran. When we come back after a quick break, warning to American embassies in the Mideast and around the world for a possible retaliation from Iran. We'll go in depth on that. But first, joining us live in Atlanta's only 24-hour traffic center. Hello and good morning, Mr. Alex Williams.
Hey, good morning, Mark. And some better news this Monday morning for those traveling southbound into Stockbridge. Stalled Big Rig cleared out of the right lane. 75 southbound Hudson Bridge Road, exit 224. So those brake lights from Highway 138 will start to improve. Just picked up a new stall over on the west side. It's blocking the left side of the 285 northbound inner loop ramp to I-20 westbound, exit 10 there. That's causing some 285 northbound brake lights back to Cascade Road. Traffic brought to you by your neighborhood Kroger Pharmacy. Kroger Pharmacy welcomes Express Scripts Medicare D and TRICARE Department of Defense Plan members. You can transfer prescriptions at Kroger.com/payer update. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
When you need to know.
This story is developing in Atlanta.
When you want to know.
Severe weather is on its way.
When you have to know.
We'll alert you as soon as this closure clears.
Get notifications
from your source for news.
Get the WSB radio app.
Download it from your app store today.
Hey, it's Shelley Winter. Car prices are expected to rise this summer. Do you wait or buy now? At Butler Lexus South Atlanta, there's no guesswork, just peace of mind. All in-stock Lexus vehicles are price locked, guaranteed not to go up. Visit Butler Lexus of South Atlanta or call 800-NEW-LEXUS. Experience the standard of amazing.
Your neighborhood Kroger Pharmacy is happy to welcome back Express Scripts Medicare D and TRICARE Department of Defense Plan members. It's easy to transfer prescriptions at Kroger.com/pay-or-update. See your Kroger Pharmacy for details.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-2798. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-2798. That's 800-575-2798. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
The guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate is the easiest way to sell your home. Now you can save time and make the most money and eliminate all hassles this summer. Hey, Sean Hannity, Mark Spain Real Estate can sell your home with the strongest all-cash offer in the industry and help you move on your timeline. With over 67,000 satisfied clients, you can trust the most experienced real estate team in the U.S. to sell your home fast. Go to markspain.com and start packing.
It's officially time for Zero Rez's annual summer sale. Take advantage and get 15% off all cleaning services. Mention Chris Chandler to secure this deal today or book online at ZeroResAtlanta.com. Zero Res. All they leave is clean.
That's you, looking at your garage door. And you're wondering, if it gets windy, just how much can this door take? 20 miles an hour? 30 miles an hour? Sure, if we get a little wind, your buddy says if you back the car up against it just right, you can probably save it. But what's your clever plan the next time we get a storm with a name? At Mo Better Garage, we make that way mo better. Storm-rated doors are built to withstand heavy winds, even if your building codes aren't there yet. It's like the door to the safe that protects your whole house. Stronger materials, heavy-duty motors and springs to handle the weight, and reinforced struts to keep it from bowing out in the wind. How do I know it won't bow? Because I'm Mo. Call Mo Better Garage and we'll make sure you're prepared the next time a storm with a name comes sailing across the Gulf of Mo.
Mo Better Garage, we make it way more better.
MoBetterGarage.com.
If you're trying to get through your daily activities and you're noticing you can't because you're focusing more on your pain than being able to enjoy the moment, those are the patients that we're looking to treat because we can make a difference.
That's Dr. Ashley Caravelli, a medical director for QC Kinetics.
What we're doing at QC Kinetics is offering treatments that help with joint preservation. We use cutting-edge technology in our in-house lab to harness your body's natural healing powers and target the areas where you need them the most.
These are regenerative, non-surgical treatments, and QC Kinetics is the nation's leader, delivering lasting relief to tens of thousands of patients.
What we do know is that the sooner we start treatment, the sooner you'll see relief.
So don't wait another minute. See if you're a good candidate for these non-surgical treatments for joint pain. The consultation is completely free.
Call QC Kinetics, 770-285-8026. That's 770-285-8026. 770-285-8026.
This mission has not been about regime change. The president authorized a precision operation to neutralize the threats to our national interests posed by the Iranian nuclear program and the collective self-defense of our troops and our ally Israel.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, this mission was not about regime change, but no one would mind if that regime did change. Welcome back to the Mark Arum Show. Coming up after the news at 11:35. Deborah, what tickets do we have today? B-52s, is that right?
Yeah. B-52s and Devo are going to be at Amerisbank Amphitheater in the fall.
Devo from Friday?
Devo,
Devo.
Right? With the big energy domes,
yeah.
Whip it good, yeah.
All right, so Deborah's got those tickets, and we're going to talk to our buddy Mike McKee from Bloomberg News on maybe an increased level of terror alerts here stateside as we rate any Iranian reaction. In the meantime, it remains unclear whether Iran maintains some nuclear capabilities after the U.S. strikes hit 3 of its major nuclear sites. Also remains unknown how or when Iran will retaliate. CBS News correspondent Holly Williams has more from Iraq.
Now Iran is weakened by nearly 10 days of war with Israel, and we don't know what kind of retaliation it may still be capable of. Some staff at the U.S. Embassy here in Iraq have been told to leave out of an abundance of caution, according to the State Department.
Yeah, it's not only Iraq. Following the U.S. bombing of Iran, the State Department ordered family members of staff and non-essential personnel at the U.S. Embassy in Beirut, Lebanon to leave. CBS's Olivia Gazis has the details.
One day after U.S. military strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities, the State Department on Sunday ordered the departure of non-essential diplomatic personnel and family members from Lebanon, citing the volatile and unpredictable security situation in the region. It also said it was drawing down additional American personnel from its mission in Iraq, but there were no announcements of U.S. government assistance being provided to private citizens wishing to depart either place. Olivia Gazis, CBS News, Washington.
I don't know, Deborah. If I was in the Mideast right now, if I was a U.S. citizen,
nope.
Yeah, I think I would be like, I think I'd take a vacation and get the heck out of Dodge, at least for a couple of months, which is ironic because I don't know if Shelley talked about this last week. Shelley Winter filled in for me. He wants me to go to Israel with him over Christmas.
What?
Did he mention? Yeah.
No, he didn't say that at all.
So he brought this up like a month ago, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to go to Israel with me?" And I was like, "All right, I'll go to Israel with Shelley." And then all of this blank hit the fan, and now I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know, Shelley. We'll see what happens come December." But yeah, I was supposed to go to Israel with Shelley. I got to get those Sky Miles, the Delta Sky Miles, creeping up on my status. All right, when we come back again, should we be worried about a terrorist threat here in the United States from sleeper cells in Iran? We'll get the latest from Bloomberg News after news, weather, and traffic. Social media is active at Mark Airman at WSB Radio.
Summer is peak hosting season, right? Don't let a grimy house keep you from having company over. It's Chris Chandler, and Wise Guys Pro Wash got my place clean and bright and guest ready in just one day. They handled everything, house and deck, driveway, even my dirty roof, and their soft wash kept everything safe. No paint peel, no damage, just clean. If you got people coming over this summer, be sure Wise Guys Pro Wash comes by first. Mention me, Chris Chandler, for $70 off at wiseguysprowash.com. Book now before they fill up.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. A question I get all the time is, how did we become the largest injury firm in the world? We have over 1,000 lawyers in all 50 states and close to 6,000 coworkers. Our call center is on duty 24/7. You can reach us at any time at forthepeople.com. But the real reason is we won a lot. When you visit our website, go to our verdicts and settlements. There you will see what our clients were offered and what they were awarded at trial. All those verdicts help us resolve many cases fairly and early. You see, nothing beats reputation. The insurance industry knows who we are. We even have insurance adjusters call us for representation because they know too. We've made it easy. On your mobile device or computer, go to forthepeople.com and we will get busy. It's that easy. Call today. Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
You know, I've had listeners, coworkers, friends come up and ask me, hey, Aram, what makes Advanced Hair Restoration different? Well, allow me to share, along with some details on, get this, their once-a-year summer savings event. First off, Advanced Hair stands by the results, and their before and afters are second to none. With Advanced Hair, your own natural hair guaranteed to grow. Secondly, Advanced Hair combines top-rated physicians with modern technology, creating a concierge-quality experience that's hard to find elsewhere. Finally, Advanced Hair's Advanced FUE begins regrowing your own natural hair the very next day. Quick, simple, and easy. Now, if you have a flexible schedule this summer and you've been waiting for the savings special opportunity, it's here, friends. Advanced Hair Summer Savings Event will get you the most hair for your dollar. It's their best offer ever. For details and to schedule your free consultation, call 770-660-HAIR. One-day treatment, life-changing results. Your new hair guaranteed to grow. 470-660-HAIR or advancedhair.com.
Summer's heat can make it over 100 degrees outside, and if you have a vented crawl space, the vents are piping that muggy air into your home. So let American Crawl Space Solutions encapsulate your crawl space.
American Crawl Space Solutions. Foundations too.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It's 11:30. I'm Jonathan O'Brien. This news brought to you by Rocco's European Garage. Our top story, continuing coverage of the conflict in the Middle East. Israel says they have hit targets inside the Iranian capital of Tehran in their latest round of strikes. Reporter Haley Ott has more from Tel Aviv.
The IDF has said that it's been targeting missile, radar, satellite infrastructure, also a number of airports. And notably, the Office of the Minister of Defense said that Israel had been targeting things that were symbolic of the regime.
President Trump is due to meet with his national security team at the White House later today. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt spoke about the president floating the idea of regime change in Iran. She says he was just asking a question.
If they refuse to engage in diplomacy moving forward, why shouldn't the Iranian people rise up against this brutal terrorist regime?
But she says as far as our military posture, it hasn't changed. The State Department, meanwhile, has issued an alert urging Americans to exercise caution abroad as the Middle East tensions continue. Here at home, Governor Kemp says he supports President Trump's major nuclear sites in Iran.
You know, this was not an action of war. It was an action of defense, in my opinion, to keep Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. That has been a stated goal of this president. And, you know, a lot of other administrations have talked about it, but nobody's ever done anything anything about it.
He confirms he was part of a call with Homeland Security officials following the strikes, but says it's not unusual to have these types of briefings about possible security threats after major events. The governor says Georgians should continue to go about their business but report any suspicious activity. Check back often for updates on the conflict between Israel and Iran. We'll have coverage throughout the day and breaking news as it happens. A man is dead and a woman is injured following a shooting inside the Bixby Apartments on George Busby Parkway near Kennesaw State University. Cobb police say the suspect, 22-year-old Anthony Lockett, had argued with people in the apartment earlier in the day.
The suspect then left, returned with other people, and confronted those inside with a gun.
Cobb police spokesman Aaron Wilson says Lockett fired several shots, striking 24-year-old Jalen Parker, who did not survive. Someone else in the apartment also fired shots. The 40-year-old female shooting victim is the mother of the suspect. She's listed in stable condition at Kennestone Hospital. Lockett is in custody, charged with aggravated assault as well as murder. Atlanta Fire Rescue has given the all-clear after a gas leak forced the evacuation of some businesses at a shopping center in the 900 block of Monroe Drive in Midtown this morning. Officials say the leak started from a refrigerator. Atlanta Gas Light is on scene. 2 people reported having headaches but are now listed in stable condition. And July 4th travel is poised to break records. AAA predicting over 72 million people will venture out at least 50 miles from home over the Independence Day holiday travel period beginning this coming Saturday through Sunday, July 6th. That's an additional 1.3 million road travelers compared to 2024. It also says 5.8 million will be flying to their destination. That's also a new record. It's 11:33, time for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams watching the roads in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Still a little bit of recovery mode in Stockbridge on I-75 southbound, Jonathan, where we had that earlier stalled tractor trailer that's cleared at Hudson Bridge Road. Elsewhere, you're slowing 285 both north and southbound, inner and outer loops over on the west side, mostly due to a stall that's blocking the left side of the I-285 ramps to I-20 westbound. Elsewhere downtown, 75-85 southbound, sluggish from 17th Street down toward North Avenue with northbound delays on and off from I-20 up past Freedom Parkway. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
This is WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly cloudy and hot today, high 94, lows tonight in the mid-70s. Tomorrow, potentially the hottest day so far this year with a high of 98 and a partly cloudy sky. An isolated pop-up shower can't be ruled out on Wednesday, high 97.
88 degrees in Smyrna, 88 in Lilburn, and it's 89 degrees here in Midtown. More news at noon. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Jonathan O'Brien, 95.5 WSB.
What would you do with $1,000 this summer?
Hotel, pool, week at the beach, cabin in the woods.
Whatever you want to do this summer,
WSB has $1,000 to make it happen.
$1,000 Thursdays gives you the chance to win $1,000 every hour between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m.
Listen for the keyword at 9, 10, and 11 a.m. and 12, 1, 2, and 3 p.m.
Enter the keyword at WSBradio.com or on the WSB app within that hour.
You could win $1,000. Get all the info at WSBradio.com.
$1,000 Thursdays begins this Thursday.
From 95.5 WSB, where Atlanta wins.
The president's posture and our military posture has not changed. The president was just simply raising a question.
Caroline Leavitt this morning talking about the president's attack of Iran. How concerned should we be here stateside about an Iranian retaliation? Miles Miller from Bloomberg News joins us live next on the Mark Arum Show.
Only inches separate you from the heavy rain pounding on your roof. Dave Baker, host of the Home Fix It Show, here for Findlay Roofing, the roof guys. Water is your home's #1 enemy, and your roof is your front line of defense to stop it from getting inside. Has your old roof finally lost the battle against all this recent heavy rain? If water has made its way into your home, think of Findlay first. They've replaced over 65,000 roofs locally, all with high-quality work, upfront pricing, and exceptional service. You'll always win with Findlay. You'll never have to worry about them cutting corners. With over 30 years of experience, Findlay goes the distance. They're the extra effort experts, making sure you have a remarkable roof experience. Are you seeing water inside or just not sure how well your roof is holding up after all this recent rain? Schedule a free roof analysis. No obligation, no charge. FindlayRoofing.com.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
Bro, our AC totally died this weekend, and I just got quoted $10,000 for a new one.
Reliable replaced mine last year, bruh. $69.99 a month.
Bruh, $69.99?
Yeah, bro. They take care of everything. Forever. All repairs, maintenance, and it's no additional charge, bruh.
Bro.
That's right, bruh. Stay cool with reliable heating and air. Any size AC, just $69.99 a month. Zero down and an unbeatable lifetime warranty. Go to reliableair.com to schedule your free estimate today.
He packed in the animals 2 by 2, ox, camel, and a kangaroo.
Going to continue our team coverage of the Iranian strike in just a moment. But, Deborah, we have some great new tickets to give away this week. What do we have?
Yeah, tickets to go check out the B-52s and Devo. They're both going to be at Ameris Bank Amphitheater on October 25th.
Taking it easy on Vin, 7th caller, 404-872-0750. 7th caller to 404-872-0750 wins the B-52 and Devo tickets, courtesy of the Mark Aram Show, 95.5 WSB. All right, back to the big story now. Reaction from the Iranian strike. Joining us live from Bloomberg News, Miles Miller. Miles, good morning. Thanks for your time.
Good morning to you.
Metro Atlanta, big area, a lot of global interest here. How concerned should authorities locally in Atlanta or New York or L.A. be about Italian retaliation on American soil?
Yeah, I think what we've seen is police in big cities like Atlanta, right, New York, Washington, Los Angeles, all increasing patrols at religious institutions, diplomatic facilities, and public spaces. And of course, it's going to be the same in Atlanta. Of course, Atlanta, home to a pretty sizable Jewish community there, right? And so you're going to see at synagogues an increased presence of both local police, the sheriff's office, and, of course, the state government police as well. Listen, the Department of Homeland Security said the Israel-Iran wars placed the U.S. in a heightened threat environment, and they expect this to go on throughout the summer. Now, one thing that is important to note is that pro-Tehran hacktivists are trying to basically attack U.S. networks. They are worried about critical infrastructure that's connected to cyber, and they're worried about the likelihood of violent extremists in the U.S. independently mobilizing and carrying out a lone wolf kind of attack.
So greater possibility of a cyber attack as opposed to, a sleeper cell, full-on terrorist physical attack?
I think that they are on the hunt for both, and they are going to be clearly stepping up their anti-terrorism posture on both of those things. As it relates to cyber attacks, we've seen from the Salt Typhoon cyber attack to other issues when it comes to ransomware. You have the local school districts that have been subjected to cyber attacks. You've got the state energy grid. You've got the police departments that were kicked out of their own systems because of these cyber attacks. This is the type of critical infrastructure attacks that they are looking at, and then of course the potential for these violent extremists. The State Department really is issuing this worldwide caution alert for American citizens, because it may not just be something in the United States. It could turn out to be American citizens are going to an event in Spain or going to an event in Paris, and they could be targeted. So definitely on the lookout for all of these kinds of things. When you talk about what local police departments have done, the Department of Homeland Security has asked them to install SCIFs, those special compartmentalized investigative facilities, where they can share that kind of really important investigative data in real time with them to figure out what's going on out of an abundance of caution. It's very important. New York has one, and it has helped to stop 30 plots targeting the city.
Wow.
And so it's important for cities around the country to employ that kind of same posture.
Yeah, we've already seen as internationally warnings for U.S. embassies in Iraq and Lebanon to proceed with caution there. Back to the cyber aspect of this, Miles. Does Iran have the capability to launch these on their own, or might they call in their partners, Russia, North Korea, to help facilitate these cyber attacks?
And not just their partners, right? Not just Russia and North Korea and that kind of thing. There are also folks who may just be sympathetic to the cause, right? You've got these cyber groups that may have a particular affinity for Iran, who may feel like they have an issue with Israel, and they could join in and help with this. What we know is that there are a lot of people on the other side who would be upset by these strikes against Iranian nuclear facilities, considering they did not feel like the U.S. had any issue to play in here. Obviously, the president felt differently, and so those folks who might be particularly upset by that could play a role in working through proxies to deal with the Iranian government and then carry out these kind of cyber attacks. The Hamas attacks, obviously, on October 7th, have really put folks on high alert. An Iranian gang claimed responsibility for hacking into an Israeli hospital and stole patient data in 2023. An Israeli hacking group followed by shutting large swaths of Iran's gas stations down. Corporate warfare and corporate espionage is going to be a part of this as well. And so, everything is sort of on the table, and it's the reason why they're on high alert right now.
Miles, one of the assets we have domestically is the Foreign Linguist Program. How can that aid us as we await any possible Iranian retaliation?
Yeah, the foreign language program is very important. Say intelligence analysts sitting in your police department, are scouring Telegram, where a lot of these messages, these negative, these hate-filled messages are on, or on WhatsApp. They're scouring and they find a message that is in Farsi, or they find a message that's in a language that is not regularly sort of mentioned or spoken in Atlanta. They're able to say, hey, this is what we're picking up. There's this stream of negative commentary happening right now. They're talking about looking for material support to support, the Iranian government or to support a lone wolf attack. It's that kind of chatter that is intercepted by these foreign linguists that gives law enforcement the ability to look at that in real time, figure out where that person is, and then and oftentimes it's just to question them and then keep an eye on them. Not many times does it lead to an actual attack. A lot of times it's a person who was upset. It's a person who's being radicalized online. This is something that is being looked at all the time by law enforcement here in New York, in Atlanta, and everywhere in between. And the nature of information sharing is very important. If something is happening, in Atlanta, police in New York want to know because there's always a nexus. There's always a nexus between two cities, two states, and that kind of thing. We saw that in a number of different cases, and so that's the reason why information sharing is so important.
Final question for you about listeners here in Atlanta. Anything they should do? Just stay extra vigilant during this heightened security?
Yeah, and it's very important. See something, say something was instituted after 9/11. It's very important. I mean, I can't tell you the amount of cases I've covered here in the city and the amount of incidents. When I was an official at the fire department, that were brought to our attention by people seeing something suspicious and calling it in. That is what led to the incident. There was a bombing in Chelsea back in 2015. Two tourists happened to see a bag. They open it. There's a pressure cooker, and then it explodes. But they call that in. And so the more that you call in something that you think may not be right, is the way that it's a force multiplier. It's very important. Police can't do it alone. They need the public's help.
Miles Miller, Bloomberg News. Miles, great stuff. Thanks for your time.
Of course.
There you go. We're going to continue our team coverage of the Iran strike. Eric Erickson at the helm from noon to 3 here right after the Mark Arum Show. All right, Deborah, I got 2 minutes. Can I have 2 minutes to talk about my trip?
Do it.
All right, she's the executive producer. First of all, I knew it was going to be too short. I needed to take 2 weeks. For a Japan trip, 1 week was not enough. I mean, I literally spent 2 days of 24 hours of traveling. Flew from Atlanta to L.A., L.A. to Tokyo, Tokyo to Sapporo, Sapporo to Takamatsu, Takamatsu to Tokyo, Tokyo to L.A., L.A. back to Atlanta. Crazy stuff. And I definitely am jet lagged 100%. Real quick, first of all, Longoria, I tried to buy you Japanese Legos.
Yeah.
They have a big store called Don Quixote.
Okay.
And it's like this crazy store that has everything.
Yeah,
I went there and I went to the Umitown Mall.
Okay.
So they had Legos there.
Mm-hmm.
But it was all like there was no Japanese Lego. Like it was just like
Oh, it's just American. It was just American. It was just the stuff that we have here.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I was hoping to find like Japanese centric Lego.
Yeah.
So I didn't get you buckets.
Okay.
I'm
Thank
sorry.
you.
I'm sorry about
Thank
that.
you.
Deborah, I did get you something though. Vinny, I got you buckets as well. But I was looking for you, Longo.
All right.
I was looking.
I'll
for
give you a list next time. Maybe I can find some spots that have like Japanese Legos.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Maya was like, "Give it up." I'm like, "No, we can go to one more store." She's like, "There's no such thing." A couple of first of all, the food was amazing. It was a great trip. I got to see Maya's family. Got to see her grandparents. They're still alive.
Aww.
It's amazing. Just everything. I wish I could speak for hours on it. But there's a couple of things I noticed that they always say the Japan's living in the next century. We're behind. Mm-hmm. They have done something. So I flew Delta. Shout out to Delta. Amazing. But once I landed in Japan, Deborah, I had to take ANA Airlines, which is like a Japanese airline from Tokyo to Sapporo. And they have figured out how to board a plane properly.
Oh, how do they do it?
So first off, just like here, hey, if you got kids or, you're handicapped, you need to go disabled, whatever the correct, you get to board first. And then they board all the window seats first.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that.
Yes. So I sat on the window. Maya wants the aisle. So I was like the first boarding group. And that way everyone gets in. All the window people get in first. And then they're like, all right, middle seat, Jack Wagons, you're up next. And then finally, and it was so smooth. We need to incorporate that. Yeah, it was really cool. Got to use the bidets, the Toto toilet. I didn't know that. I've never used them before. I've been to Japan a couple times, but
I've never seen them here.
I've never used them. I've seen them. I've never used them. I thought for those of you who don't know, they squirt water at your hiney for cleanliness. I thought it just turned off automatically. Like when you hit the button, it's like it knows when it's done.
It's like a sensor?
Yeah. So I'm waiting like 3 minutes.
So you're just sitting there?
Yeah. And I'm like
taking a full bath.
And I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like it's not turning off. Like it's clean, man. It's clean. You're done. And then all the directions are in Japanese. And I don't know which one. So I have to pull up the Google Translate and put it on there.
Only in Spanish for you.
Yeah, exactly. And finally it was off. But anyway, I posted a bunch of my pictures on my Instagram account at Mark Aram. Maybe I'll talk a little bit more about the trip tomorrow. But it's fan. But next time, Deborah, it's got to be a 2-week adventure. Can't do the 1 week. All right, congrats to Kevin in Snellville. He won tickets to see the B-52s and Devo, courtesy of the Mark Aram Show and WSB. After a quick break, we come back. Lisa Murkowski, Republican senator, talking about the Iran strike. We'll hear from her next. But first, it's a scorcher out there all over town. How's that impacting the drive, Alex Williams?
We got a hot mess on the south side perimeter. Literally, Mark, car fire. Travel advisory, 285 eastbound, the outer loop before Jonesboro Road, exit 55. Fire rescue on scene, dousing this. Multiple right lanes are blocked. You're slowing back toward I-75. Take Forest Parkway over to Jonesboro Road. Head up northbound. You can hop on 285 and avoid that mess altogether. Still seeing some southbound delays on I-75 through Stockbridge, passing Hudson Bridge Road. And the earlier stall on the west side, 285 north and southbound, the ramps to I-20 westbound, exit 10. That stall has cleared. All lanes back open, but still seeing some merging delays. Traffic brought to you by Sam's Club. Ready for some locked-in summer value at Sam's Club until July 22nd. Prices are held on over 1,000 items, including summer must-haves like ice cream. Sign up for a free membership and join at samsclub.com/join. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
When news breaks,
we devastated the Iranian nuclear program.
We've got it covered. The president writes, quote, a full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, Fordo. All planes are safely on their way home. He adds, now is the time for peace.
Tune in often for the latest.
Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's breaking news station.
You know the best part about hot weather is walking into a cool, comfortable house, right? Dave Baker here for Coolray Heating and Cooling. Summer is here. Don't let HVAC problems ruin your fun. Coolray is offering up to $2,250 in rebates and free installation with the purchase of a complete home carrier system. Ready to stay cool this summer? Visit Coolray.com to book your appointment today and keep your home cool and comfortable all summer long. Coolray Carrier. Turn to the experts.
Mom and Dad seem different after a European-style holiday on MSC Cruises.
Call us Cloud and Yvette.
The ship had restaurants, shops, and nightlife.
La Galleria.
And of course, American touches, like an aqua park and a sweets shop.
American je ne sais quoi.
Mom, you're from Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, Kevin.
Book now and save up to 30% off, plus kid sale free.
MSC Cruises. Let's holiday. To book, visit msccruises.com or contact your travel advisor. Restrictions apply. Ships registered in Panama and Malta.
At Rocco's European Garage, we take pride in providing full service and repair for any Mercedes, BMW, Porsche, Land Rover, or European vehicle. Hey, this is Rocco, and visit one of our 6 locations for top-notch customer service that includes clear upfront pricing, customer approval prior to us beginning work, and a 3-day appointment window to get you back on the road quicker. Your vehicle is fixed right the first time, and we offer shuttle service for more convenience. Always at a better value than the dealership. Visit any of our 6 locations at Rocco's European Garage.
Market volatility isn't slowing down. If you're nearing retirement, now is not the time to wait and see. Every day of uncertainty can put your future at risk. It's time to diversify. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and I want you to know you can create certainty, locking in guaranteed income for life. This means predictable, stable cash flow, even in turbulent times. You've worked too hard to leave your retirement to chance. Right now, there are options to receive up to 30% upfront or annual growth of up to 10% for retirement income. That's up to $30,000 upfront or up to $10,000 per year on $100,000, all guaranteed for retirement income. Don't wait. Call 404-390-4000. That's 404-390-4000.
Annuity guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Any examples provided are hypothetical. Annuities are issued with prospectus and sales brochures and should be reviewed carefully before funding as features and benefits vary. DBA in most states as Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions.
Heavy rain can significantly impact your septic system by saturating the soil and causing backups in your home. I'm Shannon, owner of Scorpion Septic. We can help. My licensed, insured, experienced team responds 24/7 with upfront pricing and high-quality work.
Take the sting out of septic service with Scorpion Septic, where there is never a pump-out charge with your repair. Details online.
ScorpionSepticServices.com. Atlanta DIY landlords, listen up. If you're exhausted from managing your rental properties all by yourself, my friends at Renters Warehouse Atlanta offering a 90-day test drive. Hire Renters Warehouse to manage your rental property for a low flat monthly fee as low as $115. If you're not satisfied at any time in the first 3 months, you can fire them. Get your management fees back. What do you get for that low flat monthly fee? A dedicated property management team, maintenance coordination, move in and move out property condition reports, advanced tenant screening with a 9-month tenant warranty, professional photography and videography, lease renewal processing and negotiations, online rent collection, monthly owner cash flow statements, and more. Renters Warehouse, so confident you'll love their service, they want an addition for your business. Choice is yours. Keep DIYing or see how Renters Warehouse can make your life easier. Start your 90-day test drive today. Go to rwatlanta.com or call 404-662-2322, 404-662-2322.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But what if you could get both? Why not? Especially when it comes to health care, and that is Medi-Share. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with Medi-Share, and that's huge, but it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. And we know this from research of members. There's a lot they like about Medi-Share, but especially they love being part of something they believe in. And Medi-Share works, too. It has for more than 30 years. There are hundreds of thousands of members who love having telehealth if they need it. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or you're part of the gig economy or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Call 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE, 855-51-BIBLE.
Wow, we ran late. I don't have time for much of Lisa Murkowski, a little bit of her talking about the Iran strike.
Full confidence in President Trump's national security team. We are a very, very...
You said we need to, but
we
do
need
you?
to.
Do you?
Gail, I am going to ensure that the expectation that we all have, that it is a focus, it is a precision, it is a clarity of purpose and mission. We have to trust that.
All right, that was Lisa Murkowski with Gail King on CBS Mornings. The political aspect of the Iran strike, Eric Erickson will continue to discuss that noon to 3 here on 95.5 WSB.
Longoria's Fact of the Day.
All right, today's National Detroit-Style Pizza Day. And it originated in Detroit in 1946 at Buddy's Pizza, originally Buddy's Rendezvous. The pizza is baked in blue steel pans, often repurposed from auto factories, which contributes to its unique texture.
My first meal back in the States was Domino's Pizza at midnight. Sunday morning.
Okay. After eating all that wonderful food over there?
I did have McDonald's in Japan.
Oh, yeah.
I had to go gringo one time, and I got the filet of fish, better in Japan.
Really?
I got the double cheeseburger, better in Japan.
Wow.
But the French fries were different, the Mickey D's French fries. I didn't have any other, I didn't go to KFC or any of this stuff, but I had to have one gringo meal, so I did it. All right, good job, Longoria.
And now, are you guys ready for the Mark Aram star of the show?
Not George Takei. Made me tap dance. Sorry, George. You better, buckle up, fly right. Stars of the show, the gang's all here. The Core Four is back. Deborah, Longoria, Vinny, and myself. So many guests, I can't even give them all stars of the show, but they know who they were. They did a good job. Tomorrow on the show, the return of Scott Slade is going to join us live, and we'll, of course, continue the updates of the Iran strike, waiting any sort of retaliation from Iran. Not only coverage tomorrow, but throughout the day here on 95.5 WSB. In case you missed it, all my Japanese pictures from my vacation up on Instagram and Facebook at Mark Arum, MarkArum. Stay safe. Have a great Monday. Stay cool, Atlanta.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
WSB consumer expert Clark Howard, sponsored by Ragsdale Heating, Air, Plumbing, and Electrical.
A lot of what's going on social media in the investment space are people trying to manipulate the price of shares in a particular little-known company where they buy in at low prices, pump the price up by getting you to buy in. And then once they've made their killing, they're gone and you're stuck with shares worth a tiny fraction of what you've paid. You need to do your own primary research on a company because otherwise you're the one who gets burned.
Ever wish selling your house came with a bonus round? With Orchard, you get cash up front to buy your next place, then more when your old